And that's
Yes or no? Say yes or no.
And how's the audio quality? Is it going in and out, or is it somewhat consistent? Did you hear all those words? Gotta run and see what the chat's saying.
I was gonna say, we gotta see what it says.
Broken light. Oh, and now somebody says now it's working.
Unplug and replug it in.
It's now. I want to ask TikTok, those on TikTok, how is the mic sounding? Is it going in and out?
All right, let's do our intro one more time. Just everyone real quickly. All right, so I'm Vegan Stoner Lady. You can find me on all platforms, VSL, Anna, and we're anti-animal use here in Portland, Oregon. We're going to ask some people about their values, see if they live in alignment with them. I'm going to pass around the mic and introduce the members.
I'm Rebecca, the Uncaged Front on Instagram, and theuncagedfront.org is my blog. And thank you for being here to witness some conversations with people on the streets of Portland, Oregon.
Nick, my name's Nick, aka grassfed_human on both Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Sorry. I am Enigma. Thank you everybody for joining. You can find my partner and I's account, Total Liberation Now, on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also go to totalliberationnow.org to find our resources there. Looking forward to having some conversations here in Portland.
Yes, awesome. So usually the way it goes is that it kind of takes a few minutes for us to get our first conversation. So we'll be talking to you, and I want you to know that we care about you just as much as the people we're talking to here. We want to talk to real people. We want to answer real questions. We're not here to pick fights with anybody or make people feel bad. We're just here to tell them about the truth and what happens. I want to shout out to Ian. Thank you for helping us fix our audio and letting us know. Thank you also to the rest of the audience in there letting us know that the audio was off. So anyway, with that, let's see who we've got in here. I see we've got a decent amount of people. So if you could, make sure you're tapping on the screen, tap on my face, or the little heart. Make sure you're sharing and just interacting in general. I want to know, in this group that we have, who's here. If you're vegan, put a 1. If you're not but curious, put a 2. And then everybody else do whatever you're going to do. Hey, Fly Sensi, I see you. Vegan for Life. Awesome. Vegan Anthem, good to see you. J4K3, I want to say L or I always mix that up. Vegan Heretic, I see you. Okay, what's up, Stasia? Hi guys, awesome, thank you for being here. Vegan Heretic, you're in both. Lambretta, Marissa, Ben, hey, what's up? So happy to see y'all here. Let's see. Okay, I think we got y'all. If I missed you, make sure you comment. I'll say hello if you're vegan. Anyway, so all those, I did see a bunch of ones. I saw 0. Okay. And a lot of ones. So we got our vegans in here. What's up, y'all? Anybody that didn't put a comment, or, maybe they're just curious and a little scared, I would love for you to give us just a short reason why you're not vegan. We would love to answer it.
Yeah, nobody really wants to abuse animals. Why would you want to abuse animals?
I see your name is Jake Lewis. Got it. That's why you have... Oh, I see. It literally says Jake Lewis. You just said it with numbers. I got it. I see it now. Okay, I will accurately address you then.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jake. Hey, what's up? The other Jake.
Rebecca, did you want this one?
No.
Do you want to talk to the chat?
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay. Also,
I can talk to the chat.
if you want to, I would just offer because she popped over.
We'll talk to them.
So it's both TikTok and YouTube.
Oh, okay. So did you guys do that last time, or?
Nope.
No, this is
the
new.
first time.
Gotcha.
So make sure you're in the camera of both of them.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, you'll be. I mean, you can be close. Just make sure you're in the eye of them.
Well, that's cool. Now we
Yeah.
can be live on both, yeah.
Yeah. Both anti-animal use.
Which one's, this is TikTok?
That's YouTube.
Or YouTube,
Yep.
and this is TikTok.
Yep.
Gotcha, okay. All right.
You'll always remember because this one actually tells you who you are. TikTok always tells you who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube doesn't tell you who you are.
All right, guys, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you are a vegan, and a 2 if you are non-vegan. But maybe if you're curious about veganism, or just, stumbled across this live and are just curious, go ahead and, put a 2. And also give us your reason why you're not vegan. Maybe give us a, or just a reason. Maybe we can talk about it. You can also we can both
Sure.
kind of.
Yeah, so real quick, we're here in Portland, Oregon. We're standing in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And it's kind of early, but I think as the sun starts to peek out, we'll see more people coming up. I think we have to hold the mic a little higher. Oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to. Just because I noticed that lately it's been, when we're in loud places, it is picking up everything. Vegan beans pasta are amazing. Yes, they are.
Looks like we got a lot of 1s, so a lot of vegans in here.
Yes, what's up, my vegans? Also, it's my birthday.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So we're here for the animals.
I didn't know it was your birthday.
Oh, today's my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was your birthday.
It's my birthday.
Yay.
Woo, birthday stream. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate y'all being here. It's the best gift ever.
I mean, we appreciate you. Coming out on your birthday. So.
Oh, well, yeah, this is what I want to do. So that's what you do on your birthday. You do what you want to do.
True.
So, yeah, we're out here. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. Yes. The best thing you can do is just interact with the live. Tap that heart. Share if you can. Let's get some people in here, right? Let's go. Let's go. So, yeah, beautiful Portland, Oregon. We want to know, those that are in the chat that are not vegan, why aren't you vegan? Maybe we can address some of that in the chat. We're waiting to have a conversation. So as soon as we get a conversation going.
Yeah, seems like we still got a lot of vegans so far.
Yeah.
Haven't
Thank you,
seen
y'all.
really any, too.
Thank
I mean,
you.
one. Yeah.
Oh, there's Chong here that says, boo. Why aren't you vegan? Oh, Savvy's in here. What's up, Savvy?
Give me easy changes to come to the vegan side.
Go to antianimaluse.org. Has all the resources. Click on the button that says Go Vegan. You'll find all the resources you need.
Right, and there's also, specifically speaking about food-wise, I'm sure you can find even guides if you just look up how to go vegan. There's also Earthling Ed's book, How to Go and Stay Vegan. You can also pick that up. That's a good book to read. And yeah, but there's so many resources online, and especially like Anna said, on antianimaluse.org. So go ahead and check that out. But
You can also Google your favorite meals. Put your favorite meal title and then put the word vegan right next to it. You'll find it. I guarantee it.
yeah, super easy. You can literally find a recipe for literally anything. If you want pizza, if you want tacos, if you want nachos, anything.
Oh, the name of the book again?
How to Go and Stay Vegan by Ed Winters, Earthling Ed. He's another great vegan activist. So go ahead and check him out
if they
too.
got the chance. That's what someone's comment was.
Does that mean then are are justified to go and do that to, you know, other animals? I mean, would you say that's right? Like, would you say you agree with that? Do you want to be eaten?
Yeah, no. I saw something about hunting. Let's see. We indeed hunt for food. In fact, we even have them in control to get them into a fenced upbringing and guarantee they go to a butcher. Future smartest hunters ever. I don't know what that comment means. It's kind of mixed up there, but hunting isn't fair because you're literally you're taking someone's life who wanted to live. They were out in their home and doing whatever they wanted to do, and because you wanted some pleasure and some entertainment, you took their life. That's not fair. I'm a butcher in a meat shop now. Okay, so I'm not here to talk about your employment. I'm here to talk about your morals and your ethics. Do you think if someone has the capacity to suffer, they deserve moral consideration?
Yeah. Looks like we got more engagement in the YouTube so far. TikTok's, I guess, a little slow. But
yeah, come on, TikTok. You gotta like, you gotta tap, you gotta be active. Let's get some people in here. What's up, Vegan Anthem? That is a bit. Hold on. Looseness of the organization. Yep, we're just here to speak up for the animals. A bear will keep its prey alive, suffering. Yeah, they're not moral agents like you and I, right? We understand that there are consequences to our actions, that people may suffer, and that we can prevent that. A bear may not fully understand that. So since you do have that understanding and that power, don't you think that that gives you a responsibility to act in a manner that respects those that you recognize feel, instead of taking advantage of them because they're vulnerable to you?
right, exactly. I mean, we have alternatives, right? As humans, we live, I mean, most of us live in society, right? Typically have alternatives, and, you know, we'd agree that that's not necessarily an ethical thing to do, or we don't look at the actions of wild animals and consider their actions as, you know, guides on how we should act. So, I mean, we already do tons of things that other wild animals don't do, such as driving cars. We're here in a city, you know, with buildings built, you know, live streaming to the whole, you know, the internet on TikTok and YouTube. So, I mean, really, it doesn't matter whether it's natural or whether other wild animals do it.
Yeah, so we're here to talk to people about their values and their actions and see if they actually align. So they may have good values where they think we shouldn't exploit each other, but their actions might be showing the opposite by them using animals and not considering their victims. So we're here to talk to people about their actions and aligning that with their own morals, living in a place that is actually more fair for everybody, regardless of your skin color, your gender, or your species. Plants are not sentient. They don't have a brain or a central nervous system. They do not make a preference. They don't like classical music. They don't care if you yell at them. They literally do not care. You have to have a brain and central nervous system to express that.
I want to address this, because I always get this comment, the Nike sweatshirt. I've had this for years before I went vegan. Yeah, I admit I bought Nike in the past. I understand they're not great, but I mean, I don't buy from them now, and I don't continue to buy from them, so... And again, there's no harm in me wearing this thing that I bought years ago. It's not harming anyone now. It's just, if anything, it's better that, you know, I wear old clothes and don't continue to purchase, you know.
Hey, Daniel.
So.
Daniel's in the chat.
But I do need to get a vegan jacket. So I will.
I know, you're doing a good job. You're doing great. What'd you say?
I do want to get like a vegan jacket.
Yeah, and I mean,
soon,
like,
so.
even if you had just bought this just hours ago, right? It doesn't matter what Nick does for your choices, right? What matters is what you do for your choices. If you think that what Nick does is wrong, don't do it then, right? You can live vegan and do what you think is right at the same time.
Right, yeah. I mean, like, even if I was being a hypocrite by wearing this or buying this, let's say, that doesn't then justify you to, you know, do things. That's just an appeal to hypocrisy. You're trying to find, you know, things in us. There are other people that they're doing wrong, so therefore then you're justified to continue doing something that is wrong. But that's not a good justification.
Yeah. So I want to go over the definition of veganism, because I keep seeing plants, blah, blah, blah. So veganism is an ethical stance against the exploitation of sentient animals, sentient beings, right? Not plants, not things that are just bumping into each other and having stimuli. We're here for the sentient beings that feel, that have preference, that look forward to that next positive experience. Those individuals do not deserve to be exploited, just like us, because we're the same. What matters to me, like my life mattering to me, matters just as much as a fish's life matters to them. Plants do not feel pain. There's debunking a myth, plant consciousness. Please go look it up. Last 50 years of studies over plants and their sentience. Plants are not sentient. I will eat more of them because of you.
I was just going to bring that
You
up.
can respond to it.
So it sounds like maybe we struck a nerve with you, or you're upset. You need to look at your own actions and maybe, I mean, like, does that, so you're upset that we're out here advocating for animals, right? And so in spite of that, you're going to continue to pay for them to be exploited and ultimately, you know, unnecessarily killed.
So what's going on?
Do you want to be interviewed? We're doing live on camera.
What's involved?
Oh, we're doing a social experiment. You want to participate?
On what? Social experiment?
Yeah, he was asking you questions.
Oh.
All right.
Thought we had someone for a sec, but nope. Just being paid to the welfare.
What's going on?
I don't know. I'm confused
Ask
by
me
this.
3 times.
Yeah.
What attention is being paid to the welfare and loss of animals and companion pets as a result of bombardment carried out by specific nation states? What are you doing about your own actions? Are you vegan right now? If you're not vegan, then I don't know what you're complaining about.
Yeah, I was confused by that comment.
Yeah,
to
it
be
doesn't
honest,
really make
but-
sense. Stasia, yes, please like and share for the algorithm. Please tap. We need people in here. So I want to know, everybody in his conversation, both TikTok and YouTube, I want to know why you're not vegan. Please tell me. You just like meat. So you can eat plant-based stuff that's just as delicious. Do you think taste pleasure justifies taking someone's life? Pink though. So you can advocate for humans at the same time as other animals. You don't have to wait. Exactly, Stasia. Be kind, be compassionate, be vegan.
Yeah, I mean, you can care about humans more. That's fine or whatever. But like, does that still justify you paying for animals to be exploited and unnecessarily killed?
Because I raise my own meat, do you think that just because I raise a child that I now have the right to exploit them and use them for whatever I want because I want to eat their insides? No, that's terrible. Stop shaming people. It's dangerous nowadays to do so. It's dangerous to the animals to not do so. They're losing everything. Someone has to message me in the comments section and pay me to be plant-based. $500 per session. I take Cash App. So it's not for you. It's not for us. It's for the animals. Animals can't pay you, right? A slave can't pay you. You're only going to help a slave if they can pay you. That's disgusting. Plant lives matter. They're not sentient. They don't have a brain or a central nervous system. I'm doing just fine. I hunt a deer every year. It gives me a higher life expectancy than y'all freedom folks. Okay, you just made that up. There's no evidence for that. You're lying. I want to know why you wear Nike and fund child labor. We just went through this. It doesn't matter what we're wearing. If we're wearing full body leather suits, the statement respect animals is still true. We should treat others with respect that feel. That's still true. So this appeal to hypocrisy is a fallacy, right? You're just running from your own responsibilities. Hey, Lewis.
Oh yeah, I agree. And again, I bought this years ago before I was vegan. It's just old clothes that I continue to wear out until I need new ones. So.
What moral foundation are you sourcing from? Can animals be killed before they become sentient? When do you suggest an animal gains sentience? You shouldn't be birthing anyone into existence just to use them. That's disgusting, like at all. You shouldn't use animals at all.
It's unhealthy. Where's the evidence that being vegan is unhealthy?
Yeah, we have evidence that it's actually the opposite. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest organization of nutritionists and dietitians in the world, came to an agreement that a well-planned vegan diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life.
Yeah. The American Dietetic Association, the British Dietetic Association, they agree.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you got these experts coming together and agreeing you can be healthy on a plant-based diet, then what's stopping you?
I've been vegan for years, and I took a break when a broken bone wouldn't heal on calcium I can't pronounce that. Citrate? I can't pronounce the calcium.
Citrate
Or carbonate. I ate whole foods. So what I would do if you truly want to respect the animals is find a dietitian, a plant-based dietitian. Tell them I'm vegan and I need help. That's simple.
Someone said animals are killed
With compassion.
And do you think? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, is it a joke? I don't know.
No. I'm saying, like, what a silly statement.
I mean, do you think killing someone is compassionate? Do you think taking their life from them unnecessarily and prematurely is compassionate? I mean, despite even how it's done, like we could point to the horrific ways in which slaughterhouses operate, but despite that, is taking someone's life, even if it's in a quote-unquote humane, way or whatnot, is taking someone's life from them when they don't want to or need to die compassionate?
So vegans actually have been shown to have better mental health. The only time that you really see us being angry is that we're trying to talk to people about rights, about inherent rights and sentience and respect. So that's not the same thing. Mental health, yeah. Welfareism. Yeah, well, so give me the logic on why it's moral to enslave, farm, exploit other animals, but not humans. Then we can talk about logic. Let's hear it. Yes, so the crop deaths argument is one of the really tired out ones right now. The animals you use eat more plants, but most importantly, it doesn't matter that something accidentally happens. That doesn't justify you enslaving someone over here. So just because people get hit by cars doesn't give you the right to enslave humans, right? So just because some animals get harmed in the production of plants, which is actually way lower than you think, doesn't mean I have the right to enslave pigs, chickens, cows, fish, turkeys, goats, etc.
Right. I wanted to say there is this saying.
Here, hold on.
Kind of wanted to point to this whole, like, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, and that is, I would say that's true, right? I don't think maybe there's some choices, but the majority of our choices that we're going to make, right, can be considered ethical, most likely. I mean, there's going to be some form of harm there, but when we have choices, that cause less harm and don't directly pay for someone's exploitation and suffering, why wouldn't you make that choice over one that maximizes harm as well as contributes to so much exploitation and so much suffering? Do you want to hold it or?
Oh, I don't care. Either way. Let's see. Both people are brainwashed. How? Or are you talking to someone else?
Eat meat and be happy. I agree. Eat vegan meat and be happy. Last night I had Faceplant. It's a vegan.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's basically like a vegan McDonald's, I guess. Yeah. That would be the equivalent. Vegan meat, 100% vegan, and yeah, it was super tasty. So I agree. Eat, plant-based meat and be happy.
Yep. Saw something about it's impossible for the human body to live plant-based. Well, that's just your opinion, yo. That is not fact. The facts show that you actually can thrive on plants, and people that eat more plants and fewer animal products actually end up living longer and having higher quality years. Holy poop! Only that? That's ridiculous. So here, TikTok. I know there's only a couple in here, but is it all right if you just tap the screen, share? Let's get some people in here. This is our first stream, so I guess it's not too wild that we haven't gotten enough people in here. But hey, Stasia, you're so sweet. Thank you for being here.
This is on anti-animal use and not vegan.
Hey Ben, what's up? Good to see you. I saw Ben enter the room. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. I know, Sasha, you're such a champ. I need to give you a badge. You're so amazing. You're so supportive. You're in the comments. You're in the lives. Ben, I appreciate you too. Your content is, if you don't know who Ben the Vegan Farmer is, definitely go watch his content. He talks about how we're labeling individuals as invasive because it makes us feel better about just wiping them out and disregarding their experiences, their life, when really they're just sentient beings trying to survive. So he talks about methods that we can actually thrive living next to our neighbors. So definitely check out Ben the Vegan Farmer. He's great.
Yeah. The TikTok, though, it might take a little bit to... Yeah. I have to do it a few times.
Thank you all for doing that. Yeah. Oh, Jake's in here. Jake Lagatar, thank you so much. Jake, you're amazing. I need badges for people really supporting us. You guys are amazing.
Can you do that in TikTok, or is it just YouTube?
I don't know. There's a lot of things in TikTok. There's a lot of stuff. I haven't gotten to all of it. Thank you so much for reposting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tapping that screen. Really, I know that it does take a lot to do all that, so I really do appreciate it. Thank y'all. What we're talking about today, we're here in Portland, Oregon. There's actually a couple of conversations behind me going on right now. And we're just asking people about their values, asking about their actions and if they align. Hey, we're doing a social experiment. Oh, I caught him. He didn't want to be caught.
What do you think about halal slaughter? Same issue. You're taking taking an animal's life away from them unnecessarily, exploiting their bodies for unnecessary reasons. So it doesn't matter whether it's halal, kosher. In fact, I mean, there's been even investigations. I know. Well, this I guess was a kosher slaughterhouse, but he did a investigation into a halal slaughterhouse, Joey Karpstrom, and he found the conditions or just the way these animals were being treated and slaughtered were absolutely horrific. The slaughterhouse workers, were kicking, abusing these animals, cutting their heads off while fully conscious. So it doesn't. But even if that wasn't the case, it doesn't matter. You're still taking their life away from them unnecessarily. So
yeah, exactly.
Or I was gonna say, like, anytime there's slaughter behind something, I don't think that usually points to it being a good thing.
Yeah, so vegan meat exists so that vegans can participate in culture without demanding someone's enslavement or exploitation. It's that simple. I do want to say we're here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall, and we're just going to ask some people about if they think they're fair or not, if they think the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless. And there's already a couple conversations going on behind me, but we ask people first if they want to go on camera. So we're just waiting for that special someone that's willing to be on camera that you can watch and enjoy the conversation. And until then, we just want to know about those that are in the chat. Those that are in here that are not vegan, I want to know, why are you not vegan? Let us know and we'll try to respond to it. And to my vegans, I really appreciate you. If you don't know what else to say, spam a bunch of hearts. The green hearts are amazing. We love seeing them. It makes us feel good to see them.
Someone said, I do eat meat, but I think it should be done in a quick, humane way. So I guess I just covered this, but I mean, how can you humanely take someone's life from them unnecessarily and when they don't need or want to die? I can only think of a few cases maybe where if, let's say, your companion animal, for example, is old and their quality of life has diminished significantly and maybe you make the choice to, I guess put them down. But that's like the only example I can really think of. How do you take someone's life from them in a humane way, like I just said, when they don't want or need to die? And prematurely too. It's not like you're waiting until they're old and doing it. You're taking their life away from them at a fraction of their natural lifespan. So,
and even if they were old, if I get to my 80s, I don't want you to slit my throat. I don't want you to take my life. I want to live just like everybody else. Everyone wants to stay healthy, safe, and happy, and not feel harm and suffering. So
exactly. And when we have other options, it's like, why choose to do that? If we don't need to.
Exactly. I do also want to put a shout out, since we do have a nice group here. So here on the TikTok, I want to I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for what you do, for your donations, even YouTube. Actually, you both have done this. Thanks to you, I was able to get this other microphone. We're able to open up to another audience on another platform, and hopefully, because it's a brand new one, it's kind of low right now, but we're definitely going to pump it up. I have some great vegans in there doing their freaking damnedest in there, and I do see your guys' work. Thank you. I see Jen, her vegan soul, and I think was it the vegan, who was it I just saw a second ago? TBS, yes, there you are. TBV, oh my gosh, I totally mixed up the letters. Anyway, thank you guys for all being here. Thank you.
Someone said, do you feel the same way about a cricket? And we feel the same way about all sentient life. Maybe you can look at, I guess, that and see maybe there's degrees to sentience in which maybe you value one animal over another. I don't know. But if there is sentient life, it's like, if you don't need to harm them, then why do it? If there's a cricket right here, why would I step on them? Or, I don't have any reason to. So, I mean, I value sentience in that if someone's having a subjective experience, they have the capacity for sentience, then I ought not unnecessarily exploit and harm them.
Cooper, did you want to talk to the chat? Oh, okay.
I need a drink first.
Okay, sounds good. I wasn't trying to kick you out. I was gonna say. Oh, okay. I was like, I just didn't want you to feel like I was like, get out of here, Nick. All right. I don't know if you want to put you.
Sure, I don't mind.
I'll step back.
Somebody says you don't need to harm plants either. So do you recognize there's a difference between sentient life, such as animals, and non-sentient life, such as plants? Would you prefer to step on, for instance, a live bird or on a bit of grass? If you'd prefer to step on the grass, that's you conceding that you know there's a moral distinction between plants and animals. Somebody says, what do you consider sentience? It's the ability to subjectively experience the world, to have feelings, to show emotions. These types of qualities are sentience. Somebody says, what about eggs? Can you eat them? We can eat eggs. We have the physical capacity to do so, but we choose to boycott eggs because there are a few injustices involved in that process. The first is the selective breeding. The birds in sheds today may lay an egg every single day. They have to use up the nutrients in their body to push out an egg every day. Hi, Jake. But their ancestors would have only pushed out about an egg a month. So the selective breeding takes an enormous toll on their bodies. As well at the breeding level, all of the intersex and male birds, they're seen as disposable within the egg industry because they'll never lay eggs like their female counterparts. So at 1 day old, they are discarded while fully alive and conscious, usually to the tune of a blender. They're literally thrown into a commercial, industrial, huge blender. About 300 million baby birds in the US alone every single year. That's for eggs alone. And then also the female birds, after they've laid eggs for about 18 months, they may live 5 or 10 years, but they're killed at about 18 months because that's when their production begins to decline. And they're seen as also disposable by the industry.
Yeah.
So why would we support any of those injustices within that industry when we can just pick something else up? There's nothing essential within a bird's egg that we need for our nutrition. We can get all we need from plants only. So why would we subject a bird to that on our behalf? Somebody says harvesting grains kills many animals. This may be true. There might be some deaths involved in plant farming today as it exists. But you have to first recognize that there are more deaths taking place for the omnivore food system because it requires way more plants overall to feed the animals plants and then kill them later than it would if we just ate those plants directly. It'll always be an inefficient system to use animals' bodies and secretions rather than getting nutrients directly from plants. So if you're concerned about crop deaths, the first step is to transition to a plant-only food system. And as we're doing that, we can also implement veganic ethics and practices within farming plants. And that helps reduce any of those remaining deaths. Somebody says, by your logic, it's okay to eat starfish. I don't know that starfish are not sentient. If that was demonstrated, I wouldn't stop somebody. But in general, we like to apply the cautionary principle. If we think there's the possibility that an entity may be sentient, we should err on the side of caution and not consume their body or exploit them for their secretions.
Where are we?
We're here in Portland, Oregon, the Pioneer Place Mall. It's a beautiful day here.
It is actually.
Thank you. Oh, wow, there's a lot of people here on YouTube. I didn't realize we have such a big audience right now. I want to ask everybody in the chat to double tap the screen, share the live if you can as well. Vegans in the chats. There's TikTok here as well. A little smaller audience on TikTok. Vegans put a 1. And non-vegans who are open-minded put a 2. And trolls, you can put whatever you want. Put a 3 maybe. Whatever you really want. Somebody says, we don't support you. So this isn't about us. We're not looking for your support. We're maybe marginalized and oppressed in other ways, but today we're here to stand in solidarity with arguably the most marginalized in the world, those who are literally objectified for their flesh and their breast milk and the eggs that come out of their bodies. So we want to ask, what justifies exploiting animals for any reason, for food, clothing, entertainment, testing? When we have an alternative today, what would justify continuing to contribute to these systems of violence? Let us know. Somebody says...
Might have a conversation.
Why don't you do it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah? I can do it if you want. Okay, so I'll have you stand right next to that arrow. I'll have you take a half step back. Come over here a little bit. That way we're a little more in frame. There we go. You can see yourself. So this one here is TikTok, and that one is YouTube. We're just anti-animal use. Did he give you a card? I'll give you a card here. So that way you can find us. It'll tell you when we're live on that website. You can look it up or just scan that little code. So we're just asking people about what they think about the power dynamic between the powerful and the powerless. Do you think that those that have some advantage, like they're strong or they're really smart, do you think they have the right to oppress or exploit or mistreat those that don't have that same advantage?
I think no, but it's kind of hard to actually implement that in society.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely hard. Some people get a lot of power, and it's hard to control them. But you agree that someone shouldn't abuse their power, right? They shouldn't, in your opinion. Yeah, I agree. So what about when it comes to the animals that we use for food, clothing, entertainment, or like vivisection? Do you, like when we test for cosmetics or the circus or the zoo, do you think that, would you agree that we're the oppressors and they're the oppressed in that situation, that we're exploiting them?
I think in a way, yeah, certain animals I know, I've seen like videos. So I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
But I've seen videos where it's like many people who eat food, they think it's not bad because they're just, eating the food.
Yeah.
But the process of getting that food isn't always the best.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that most people have this thought process that is so normalized that how could anything that's so normalized be bad? Can you think of a time in our past that something atrocious that we find today terrible was normalized back in the past? Can you think of anything?
Well, I'm from New Orleans, and recently over there they only legalized what should I call it? Same-sex I forget what the law is, but essentially, long story short, you were able to be like gay over there, but they had lots of discrimination laws, and only recently they passed the law.
Wow, I didn't know
So,
that. Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it passed. I'm just so sad that it took so long. That's, everyone deserves to be happy. Okay, so do you think that if somebody has the capacity to suffer, that they should be morally considered? So like if let's say I want to get entertainment and I have a dog here and I find it funny to kick the dog, which is a sick idea, but imagine that I get my enjoyment from kicking this dog. Should I consider them morally because they care about what happens to themselves, or should I just care about my benefits?
I think you should care about the dog. I mean, first off, you shouldn't be kicking dogs, but no matter if I'm Buddhist, so I believe that all life is equal. But I think that no matter if you're a dog or just a human being, you should have the same amount of respect and moral value.
I agree. Do you still consume like milk or eggs?
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to, let's start with dairy. When it comes to dairy, do you know what's inherent in dairy? Like even on the nice farms, what a cow has to go through in order to produce milk?
I do not know.
That's okay. Most people didn't know. I actually even had to look into it. So cows are a mammal, and we know that mammals only produce milk after they give birth. So she has to be pregnant. Do you think that the farmer waits for her to decide if and when she's going to get pregnant, or do you think the farmer decides now you're going to get pregnant?
I'm going to guess the latter.
Yeah. Do you think that that's fair? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it'd be any different, but I consume almond milk.
Oh, almond milk's great. Yeah, it comes from plants. I personally love oat milk. Personally, it's my favorite. But, plant milks are great. What we're talking about are the sentient beings being exploited, and considering them and what their best interests are. And do you think that, ever purchasing animal milk or cheese would ever be in their best interest?
I think for the animals, no, because it's just going to make them, more milky and more
They'll be more exploited. Yeah, exactly. They'll birth more into existence because of your demand. Exactly. So the last thing I'll talk about are eggs. So eggs, they come from chickens that have been genetically manipulated. So they put them in sheds, and they pick out the ones that have specific genes that are mutated to our benefit. So a chicken used to only lay like 13 eggs a year. Now they lay 300. And that's because we forced them together so that their babies were mutated for us to produce eggs every day. Does that sound fair?
I think to the eggs, or not the eggs, the chickens, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the eggs, I mean.
Exactly. Even today that happens. They still breed chickens like that. If you get eggs, that mother chicken that laid those eggs, she came from a lineage of chickens that were great to death, just so that she had the right genetics to overproduce eggs. So do you feel that it is the more moral choice in the store or anywhere to accept eggs or to not? What's more moral?
I think, here's the thing. Obviously, I want to say, oh, let's just stop getting eggs and milk. But I think that's realistically not very...
Well, let me put it this way. Let's say, and this is going to sound grotesque, but bear with me. Let's say you walk into the grocery store, there's a human baby all wrapped up in cellophane the way we do little baby pigs. And someone else comes up and picks up that baby to take home, cook, and eat. What do you think of that person? Do you think they're moral?
I think not. I think that's cannibalism.
Yeah, they're viewing a someone as a something, right?
Yeah.
Right. So then what is it, do you think, in your mind that separates other animals from humans that makes it okay to do that to like a little pig or a chicken? Or I know you don't consume their flesh, but do you think that's fair to do? Because they all end up going to the same slaughterhouse. I don't know if you know that. Dairy cows often only get to age 6. They can live up to be 20. And once their milk production declines after their family separation over and over again and being graped over and over again, she gets sent to the slaughter. You know, do you think that's fair just so that you can get milk?
I don't think it's fair.
Yeah. So just like I was saying with that example of the person picking up that baby, you know, it's the same idea with the milk. When you pick up that milk, you are saying it's okay to separate families. It's okay to force families onto someone and then split that family up, right?
So do you think we should like completely eradicate milk and eggs, or do you think we should do it like in a more natural, like less?
Yeah, I don't think we should use anybody. I don't think anybody who is a feeling sentient being should be exploited for anything that comes off of them, you know, anything we have to peel off of them. I don't think that that's ours. Like, for example, I grow a lot of hair, right? That doesn't give anybody the right to farm me for my hair just because I overproduce something, and cutting my hair wouldn't really harm me, right? It's still exploitation and it's not fair. So when we look at other animals, they're vulnerable to us, right? Like, they have to accept what we do to them. So what happens is these people only do this to other animals because we demand it. So when you're in the store, even at a friend's house, you accept it, they're putting in the demand for the next individual. So what's stopping you from leaving this conversation and living in alignment with your own values? Because I do hear that you do care about others and you don't want to exploit others.
Yeah.
So what's your next step? What are you going to do with this information?
I think maybe kind of just think and ponder about it. I mean, obviously I can try and just tell people like, hey, don't eat meat, don't eat meat.
I'm more asking about your choices. Like, let's say the next opportunity, what's your next opportunity of a meal? Is it lunch or?
It's lunch, yeah.
So when you come up to lunch and you're having this option of what to eat, what do you think you're going to do? Are you going to go with somewhere that sells animal products, or are you going to look for a vegan option?
Honestly, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I might try something vegan actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, most food I have is like, it's not meat-based, but obviously it's not meat-based, but it's not exactly vegan.
Right. It's got probably dairy or eggs in it.
Yeah.
Maybe gelatin.
So maybe I'll try it. You know, I was thinking of getting like some like curry, but I'm not sure if that's...
You can always ask. A lot of Indian food is actually accidentally vegan. So Indian is actually a great choice. Just ask them, like, is there cow's milk in there? Sometimes they put coconut milk and stuff, and coconuts are fine. I would urge people to always be aware of where you're getting your products in general, because some, even plant products, as we know, can be entrenched in exploitation. So it's always good to keep, like, some coconuts, if you get coconuts from Thailand, they're picked by monkeys apparently. So it's good to be mindful of that. But when you're first trying out being vegan, it's just about doing your best as much as possible. You know, every time the next option you have, asking like, how can I separate the animal product and still enjoy my meal, or whatever it is you're doing, entertainment, your clothing. So
just I don't know. I mean, I've tried to go vegan, but it's just like, it's so hard because, like, you know, vegetarian, you know, okay, meat's easy. Don't eat steak, don't eat chicken. But most things I eat, like cheese and dairy products, obviously, it's just kind of hard to get rid of completely.
I guess what my mind always goes to, and maybe it's just you need to take a look at the footage, because for me, when I saw what was happening to these cows, I was like, I couldn't do that to myself. I couldn't do that to a companion animal, you know? And it's like, if I can't stomach that, how can they, being forced to go through it, tolerate it? And how can I pick up that package knowing that I'm demanding it, right? Because that's why the only reason they do it. If you buy more of like the almond milks or things that aren't dairy, the corporations put their money where you put your money. So they'll follow where your dollar goes. You have a lot of power. Yeah. So I do want to ask you, would you be willing to watch a documentary on your own time?
Sure.
Okay, so there's two options on the card I gave you. On the front, if you go to our website, it says "See What I Fund," and you just click on that button. There's a 3-minute documentary on there. I urge you to watch it before lunch. And then on the backside, when you have more time, watch Dominion, because it shows you what happens in all industries. Because if you're ever going to still continue demanding animals be exploited, it's important you know what they go through instead of doing this. Because even though you're blind, they still have to go through it, right? And if it's hard for us to see, imagine what it's like going through it. You know, they're sentient to care just like we do about our lives. So my since you're willing to watch that, I want to ask, would you be willing to go plant-based until you watch it? So just sticking with vegan options. It sounds like you tried it before. Just sticking with vegan options until you watch that 3-minute documentary.
I think I can go the rest of the day being vegan.
I love it. Great. Okay, so then my last question, I'll let you go. I really appreciate your time too. So how many more animals do you want? Would you prefer be exploited for you? Is it more than 0?
I think I'd rather just not have animals exploited.
Same, exactly. And I think we all share that. And I just want you to know that's your principles. It's just that your actions aren't fully aligned, and maybe you just didn't know before, but now you do know. You're informed, and it can be empowering to take control of your choices and feel that you're not demanding someone's exploitation.
So I'm going to ask that. I'm assuming you're a local here, right?
Yeah, I live in Vancouver, but I've lived in this area between Salem and here my whole life.
You know any good vegan spots around here?
Actually, I think Veggie Grill is nearby. I'm kind of turned around here. If you look up the app Happy Cow, it shows you all the vegan options in all the restaurants around you. So if you just do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I have an iPhone.
An iPhone. Okay. So what I would do is go on Safari and look up Happy Cow. Don't download the app. It costs like $5 for some reason on iPhone. But if you go on the internet and look it up, it's free. Just look up Portland, Oregon. It shows you all the vegan options, and you can find what's closest to it. I think Veggie Grill is closest. It's like a burger joint. They got fries and shakes. It's really good.
All right.
Yeah. Just look it up on your phone. Look up on the maps. You'll find it immediately.
Okay.
All right. What was your name?
Robert.
Robert. Thank you so much for having this conversation. Have a good day. Oh, that's okay. It was a lovely conversation, though. It was great. I think I might have held him a little long, but he was very receptive. I appreciated him. Sure.
Hello, chat. To anybody who is curious, we are here in Portland, Oregon. We're at we are at Pioneer Place Mall.
Yeah, because we're live on YouTube. Is that okay? Yeah. Do you want to do an interview?
Do you want to do an interview, Rebecca?
Anybody want to do an interview?
No, I just got
You want to do one? I was going to grab it. Everyone has to feel warmed up.
All right.
I want to say maybe like, I think that's
right there.
Keep peeking at it.
Does that
This way more, you'll have more room.
Oh,
yeah. I think that's
There you go, and then you can go right there.
All right.
yeah. Okay, cool. So my name's Nick. What's your name?
Mark.
Mark. Nice to meet you, Mark. How are you?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Pretty good. We're just out here kind of today talking about essentially like power dynamics between the powerful and the powerless. Basically asking people like, if someone's like maybe stronger, like you see that dude, like obviously he's a big dude, or maybe someone's smarter, right? Higher IQ. Do you think being smarter or stronger than someone gives you the right to kind of oppress or like dominate over someone? Like, do you think that's fair?
Wow, great question. I think that if we live our life to our own skill sets, that we can find power in our own self to be able to grow into an area that we can be successful in. Like, I'm not the most fastest, nor am I the most powerful, and I'm not the smartest, but I have skill sets that I've utilized that have created me to be a success.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, yeah, I agree completely. Like, obviously, we all have unique stuff about us that we can use, obviously. But I think we'd broadly agree that, like, you know, just because someone may have power over someone, like, that doesn't give them a right to, you know, dominate over someone. I think we can agree on that.
Well, that's just being rude.
Right, exactly. Like,
okay, it's not, there's a difference between being rude and being oppressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, like, well, I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, an example. Like, let's say someone could make someone do something that they didn't want to do. Like, they had power, they were physically powering them, or like, you know, that isn't, or like maybe a parent, right? They have kind of power over their child, and they're making their child do something. Yeah, or just like maybe they were making them do something that wasn't
maybe a better
great.
example that you're looking for is what's happening over in Africa.
Sure, yeah, or
right,
like,
economically, globally, what's happening outside of the United States, you know, where freedom isn't something that everybody has, correct?
Yeah, I'm just like, in broad like terms, I guess someone like maybe having power over someone shouldn't give them the right to kind of unfairly use that power over someone.
Have you experienced that?
I mean, sure. I mean, I'm sure at some point in life, maybe I've had someone, maybe in school or something, maybe I was bullied, or maybe at some point, I can't think of like a specific example, but.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, so you're coming across this from like, hey, have you ever been bullied? Like,
well, not necessarily. It's just like kind of just this question's more just in broad terms. Like, if someone just being stronger, smarter, or just having, I guess you could quote like say power over someone, that shouldn't inherently give them a right to dominate someone or use that power.
No, not at all. But I guess I've never personally experienced that. You know, like I have friends that are definitely more athletic than what I am, right? But because of how I care for them, they care for me back. You know, like for example, I'm not a great hiker, right? I can maybe do 5 miles at most, but I have friends who can do 20 miles. But when I go hang out with them, they make sure that they go slow. They don't go too far, right? So I think that there are people in this world that you're talking about that are more powerful, that are rude. Well, I just let those people stay inside their lane and I go into my lane, right? We have a right to walk away from everything in our life, right? And just because you walk away doesn't mean you're teaching somebody a lesson. It typically means that you've taught yourself a lesson. Dolly Parton said that, by the way.
Well, sure, yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Like, it's just kind of like a broad, like, you know, I guess if someone can treat, I guess like a good Spider-Man quote, like maybe you have a responsibility to, maybe you have talents over someone and maybe like don't make them feel bad or like.
Okay, so we're talking about it from a managerial standpoint.
Just again, it's just like a broad, it's not necessarily from one specific standpoint. It's just a broad term. You should, like, basically if you have, I guess, a skill set or a power, kind of a quote unquote a power over someone, you shouldn't unfairly use that against them.
No, absolutely. That's, you know, I'm a man of faith. So the stuff that God has given me, I use that for good to help others. It's inherently, we need to be lifting others up around us, not be putting them down. And if we find someone who's like that, just coach back to them. If they don't want to listen, that's their problem.
Yeah.
You move on to the next solution and then you go help the next person.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Exactly. So kind of, I guess in that vein, kind of switching the topic a little bit from like humans to like animals. So like animals, for example, do you think when we kind of use them in ways like sending them into slaughterhouses or using them in zoos, circuses, like vivisection laboratories, do you think that's kind of fair to do to them? Do you think we're kind of expressing like a power over them that's unfair?
Gotcha. Okay, I see where we're coming from on this one. So let me ask you this: are you aligned with PETA?
No, we don't have an affiliation with PETA or.
What's your take?
That might fall over or whatever. It's fine.
It's totally cool. It's totally cool. No, I do think like I do think that there does need to be regulations as far as like circuses go and things such as that. When it comes to slaughterhouses, I really don't have an opinion on that kind of piece of thing. When it comes to animals, I will say that I am pro-hunter, and I come from a state that is pro-hunting, right? Now, that doesn't mean that I needlessly believe that we can go out there, you know, and do what we want. There still needs to be rules and regulations that are governing that piece of things, right? And so I think as long as we have those rules and regulations, I think we're perfectly fine. We need to make sure that we have our moral and ethical boundaries that are built into it. For anybody who's really against that, I mean, we have to go back, and you can go back 10,000 years to, you know, when we had people who were living on this continent before all the European settlers came over here. And part of their survival was hunting, but it was all done with morals and ethics and sharing.
Yeah, so do you think, I guess there's a few points I want to kind of address there. Speaking like, do you think like animals are sentient, right? Do you think they have a subjective experience, like they can feel like sentient in like they're experiencing the world, right? Like they have emotions, they can feel pain and fear and suffer.
I'm sure that they do. I'm sure that they do. You know, how, but I'm not going to claim to relate to them or understand how they feel.
Well, sure. I mean, like, you know, you can't exactly relate to them, or I mean, not even every necessarily human can relate. We all have like, I guess, a different experience. Like I'm sure my subjective experience is a lot different from maybe yours or, you know, any of theirs. Exactly. But do you think, like, speaking though that they are sentient, right, that they could maybe experience suffering and can feel pain and fear and all that, do you think in that sense that if we don't necessarily need to use them or harm them, that we should, or exploit them? Like, do you think we should be doing that if we don't need to?
I think I backed it up just a little bit ago. I I said that we have to follow things morally and ethically, and so we're not about exploiting, right? I think it comes down to, I think what you're asking is just be a good human being and care for the things around you and care for the people who are around you, right? And I think if we're just good human beings and we have good faith and we treat this world good and we treat each other good, I think that at the end of the day, we're going to be just fine. I mean,
do you think though that when we are still using them though, even if it's, I guess, in a more nicer way, we still are technically like using them? And if we have other options, right?
What do you mean by using them? Are you talking
Well-
about like using pack horses to go into the mountains, or are you talking about like utilizing cows to go to slaughter for beef that you have hamburgers at McDonald's?
I mean, it can be both, right? Just using animals in any way where we don't need
I don't
to.
think McDonald's does beef anymore. I could be wrong on that one.
I don't know, but whether it is, or meat or using an animal in like I said, another way, like it could be that, like the horse example you said, or in zoos or circuses, or for medical testing, like, do you think in 2026 we have other options where we don't need to use animals? Like, do we have a reason to be doing this still in 2026, do you think?
That's a really good question. I don't have an answer for you on that one.
Have you ever heard of like veganism, for example?
Oh yeah. I've studied veganism,
Okay.
and everything, and I definitely eat healthy. Is what I do. So I'm not a big processed meat fan. That's why I go out and get my own food, so that I have healthy food that is natural.
Yeah. Do you kind of like, I guess, if you were to kind of like explain veganism to me, like how would you kind of, I guess, like if you could give me like a just definition, how would you kind of like explain it?
Man, that's a really great question, and there's probably a pretty good definition, and I'm not going to be the guy to be able to do that, because I got to stay in my lane when I have to admit that I'm not as well educated on things. And so I'm not as well educated on veganism. What I do know is that I go out, I forage mushrooms, right? I go out, forage shallots and things like that within the forest back where I live, and I bring those things to my table, and I make sure that I go hunt and I have healthy food and I prepare that food, properly. I utilize the whole animal for everything that I do there, right? And so when it comes down to like veganism, I guess I eat healthy, but I'm not a full-fledged vegan. Now, do I have vegetarian meals? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do things like that. But, at the end of the day, I'm definitely not a spokesperson who could really speak on behalf of that really well.
Yeah, no, and I understand that. I feel like most people probably don't necessarily know what veganism truly is. I feel like most people probably...
Last question, my wife is telling me that she's kind of telling me that I got to get going.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, if you got to get going, we can wrap this up. I'm obviously not holding you here.
No, not at all.
But we kind of just, veganism is, it's like an ethical principle against the exploitation of, non-human animals or just sentient beings in general, right? So if we don't need to kind of, in 2026, for example, when we have access to other things and we don't need to use animals, whether that be, for food, clothing, vivisection laboratories like medical testing, if we have options, should we be using animals still, right? Because obviously they have that subjective experience, they can feel. So in that sense, we share that commonality. So do you think we should give them the basic respect and rights to just live their life, right? Free of human cause.
Now that's a really great thing that you just said. So why don't we give them the basic right to live their life, right? I agree with that. Let's give them a basic right to live with life. In return, what I would ask for is that we give every baby an option to live that life as well too.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see where you're going.
No,
it's not necessarily a debate.
You
about
can't
abortion,
go one way
so.
and then the other. We either agree on one thing, right? And that's, you can't sit here and say, well, let's give these animals here an option. Let's make sure that we're not breeding them to have babies so that we can eat them, blah, blah, right? But at the same time, we have children in this world, right? And we have to be able to give them the same safety net. If we fought as hard for our children as what we do for our animals, I think that, we would see a lot of change within this world. So I do agree with you that we do have to be better, but I think we have to be better on both sides of the fence.
Well, sure. I mean, like, I can agree that, obviously we should.
God bless, man.
Would you be willing to take a resource card?
Resource card.
Yeah, we have cards if you want to. I'll let you go, but this is just our website. If you want to go ahead and check it out, you can scan the QR code or you can just look it up. You don't have to scan it. This is just a Dominion documentary called Dominion. I think, if you are going to buy these products or, I think it's just important to be an informed consumer. So all we ask is that maybe just do some research and just at least be an informed consumer. So
Absolutely. Are you guys doing some type of thing where like you're donating some of this stuff to like overseas for like sponsoring children or anything else for healthy meals for them?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
We aren't.
Do you know any organization that do that? Because I would give a donation right now for that.
I don't know any off the top of my head personally. I'm sure you can find that, but you'd have to look that up. But
Not a problem. Well, hey, I'll let you get back to your day. Thank you very much for the time and allowing me to join you for the conversation. Hopefully I didn't offend too many people, or at least hopefully I showed a little bit of love, that I care for everybody, and that I just want us all to be able to make our choices and let each other live and have a good life.
all right, well, yeah, thanks for stopping by, and you have a good day.
Yeah, God bless.
I don't know if someone wants to take over, but you want to take it? I don't. Does anyone want to? I don't know.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I
I don't know if somebody else wants to take over.
Hello, chat. We're here in Portland, Oregon, for anybody curious. Hello to TikTok. Hello to YouTube. Let's see. I want to ask everybody to double tap that screen, share the live as well if you can. If you have a justification for contributing to animals being exploited for any reason, leave it in the chat so that we can open up a discussion.
Hi, Jake. Hi to all the other vegans out there too. I'm looking at both. Which one is TikTok? Do you know?
This is TikTok.
Okay.
Hi, Chip. Hi, Utops. Hello to the vegans.
Hey,
Oh, hi,
Chip.
Daniel. I saw you there. It's great to have all the vegans and the mods here.
Hey, broccoli.
Over 100 people here in the YouTube rooms, so it's necessary to have the mods. Feel free to block anybody spreading bigotry. We're not tolerating that here.
Hi, you tops. Tiger woman.
I'm gonna ask the vegans to put a 1 in the chat. Vegans put a 1. Vegans put a 1. Non-vegans put a 2. If you're open-minded, and if you're a troll and you're not open-minded, put a 3. Somebody says disgusting people. Okay, so I asked for a substantive justification for exploiting other animals, and you responded with an ad hominem attack. What does that show you? I'll let everybody else judge for what that shows.
Unless you're talking about non-vegans. Sorry. I don't want to diss anybody, but if you're talking about non-vegans, yeah, they're kind of disgusting. And we know they just don't have all the information yet, so.
Hello. Yes, somebody said Portland, ? Yes, we are at Pioneer Place Mall. It's a beautiful day in Portland. It's sunny. We get a lot of rain here, but today it's sunny. Yes, somebody said Portland with a ? Yes, Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
It's beautiful here.
What do we say to speciesists or people who say they don't care? Okay, so that question was posed on TikTok. So with people that are speciesists, we have to kind of bridge that gap with relating it to racism or other different types of biases, people that are against people that are just different, women, homosexuals, trans folks, like all kinds of individuals that experience biases. So,
Right.
yeah.
If unjustified discrimination is wrong in every form it comes, whether it's against our fellow earthlings or against marginalized humans, we oppose all of it here at Anti-Animal Use. Somebody says pro-life ? So we're talking about the ethics of exploiting animals for their flesh or their eggs or their milk, or for entertainment, clothing, or testing. We're not necessarily talking abortion ethics today. So find another live for that discussion.
Yeah. We are for cows to have, and all animals to have their own choice and power over their own bodies.
Yeah.
If anything.
Chip says veganism is anti-exploitation. Absolutely.
Yep.
It's against the exploitation of our fellow earthlings. On what basis could we justify picking up the pig flesh at the grocery store or the farmer's market when we could pick up a bag of beans or a mock meat or some tofu or tempeh or seitan instead? What justifies contributing to animals being used and killed when it's unnecessary? In another realm within entertainment, what justifies purchasing the rodeo ticket when you could watch a documentary on cows in which they're being respected at a sanctuary?
Yeah, just
Somebody-
not necessary to use animals anymore.
That would move a puzzle piece for TikTok. I did it correctly. I guess I can do a puzzle. The vegan brain fog must not have compromised me enough. For anybody curious, I'm just making fun of some of the things we hear. Plant-based eaters do not experience compromised brain health in any way. In fact, a plant-only diet, according to the world's largest nutrition organization, is healthful for every stage of life, including infancy, including athletes and bodybuilders, pregnancy, children, everybody. Anybody can survive and thrive on plants only if they can eat a variety of them and access a grocery store.
There's been some studies done too that say that having a plant-based diet helps discourage the development of dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's really good for your brain to not have all those animals.
Somebody says more life dies growing food. So do you mean that there are more crop deaths from a plant food system than our current one? Because you're forgetting and you're missing out on all the crops that animals consume throughout their life. There's all those crop deaths that you're responsible for, as well as the exploitation of the animal and the taking of their life. If you're concerned about crop deaths, we would use far fewer crops if we efficiently use those plants directly. So there would be fewer crop deaths for a plant-only food system. And we could also implement veganic farming practices to address any remaining harm within that system.
Imagine fighting a losing battle. What does that mean? You know, if people had that viewpoint throughout all of history, nothing would change ever, because I'm sure that at some point when the slaves were enslaved, you know, that they felt that it was a losing battle, that people were just like, that's never going to happen. You're never going to be free. Well, guess what? So it happened. You just have to keep trying if you want change.
Yeah, we have to imagine that liberation is possible and act to make it reality. Somebody says, would there even be cows though? So I want to ask you, when certain states had abolished dog fighting, specific lines of dogs did not exist anymore. They were no longer being bred for that purpose. Do you think we should have continued the practice of dog fighting because we wanted to sustain those specific breeding lines? Or was it more ethical to end it and perhaps end those specific lines of animals in which we were using them for food? I'm not saying kill them, but don't continue to breed them into existence to exploit in the first place. Would you support continuing to breed dogs for dog fighting just because it's happened? What do you think? Somebody says, how can you be ethical to an animal? So I start by asking, what if that was me? What would I want? It's about not seeing them as an object or a resource to exploit, but as an individual with interests of their own.
No animal wants to be used at all. That's why even the smallest farms we don't agree with, because no animal wants someone else making choices for them. They want to be free.
Everybody here, keep double tapping that screen. Share the live as well if you can. We're here in Portland, Oregon, for anybody curious. We're at Pioneer Place Small. It's a nice day here. The sun is out. We've already had some open conversations on and off camera. We're looking for some additional folks to come on camera and speak to us. We're here to incite reflection about a topic that's frequently hidden in contemporary society. We just never think about the topic of animal ethics, and we're here to bring it to the front. We're here to examine this and open up a conversation. I'll ask you, the chat, what justifies exploiting animals for any reason when we have an alternative? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think people, they get wrapped up in all their own lives and everything going on, and they forget that, you know, their food, that it's an animal that was a living being, where they're sustaining them, and they're invisible and turned into products for everybody to use. And we're trying to just bring awareness that was a being that wanted to live, you know. So we want people to kind of like think about that, like reconnect with what they're buying.
Somebody says you don't engage, just spread propaganda. So if you don't find we've engaged with your question, you have to be honest and say that there's more than 100 people asking us questions right now, and we're trying our best to address them. So leave it again in the chat and we'll try again.
Yeah, sometimes we miss things. I mean, I put glasses on and I still can't see half the time.
Somebody says Somebody says there are predators and there are prey animals. It's reality, please. So just because something is natural, just because it might be natural for there to be a so-called predator/prey dynamic, does that make it ethical? Certain cancers are also natural, but we go against them. We go against nature because it's preferable for the individuals who suffer and die. So it may be natural for humans, for instance, to kill animals, but if we have an alternative and our body can thrive on plants only, why should we contribute to animals being exploited and killed when we don't need to? What do you think? Somebody says plants are living beings. Yes, living is separate from sentient. Somebody can feel is different from something that's alive. So we may have an interview here. All right. Who wants to? You got it?
Awesome.
You got it?
Okay, I'll give you a sign. All right, so I'll just have you stand right about there. Make sure we're both in frame. Actually, we'll step back a little more. You're much taller. Awesome. Yeah, maybe a half step this way. Awesome. My name's Anna. What's your name?
Shira.
Say it again.
Let's go with Shira.
Shira?
Yeah.
Awesome. Lovely to meet you. I'm Anna. I think I just said that. Sorry. What brings you out on this lovely sunny day?
Well, I got a day off work, so
Right on.
figured I'd come into town, check it out.
Yeah, right on. Are you from around here?
No, I'm from up in Canada.
Oh, wow. Welcome. I actually know someone up in Canada. Well, different part of Canada. Canada's huge, but anyway, welcome. Lovely to meet you. So we're just asking people about their thoughts between the powerful and the powerless. Do you think that those that have power, some advantage, have the right to oppress or exploit those that don't? Hi, sweetie.
Not really.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think about when it comes to the animals that we use for food, clothing, entertainment, like vivisection or maybe the circus? Would you consider us the oppressors and them the oppressed?
In a way. That's also an interesting one because my job is actually in transport, so I go to a lot of meat plants.
Yeah. So do you recognize that animals are sentient, meaning they feel emotions?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think that someone who has the capacity to suffer and feel joy should have moral consideration?
You're kind of putting me on the spot here, but...
Yeah. If you're uncomfortable, we can stop here.
That's fine. Yeah, and a gut feeling, that does feel right, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of us haven't thought about this, so this isn't an attack. I used animals for a long period of my life. I don't really know hardly anybody that didn't at some point, so it wasn't until I saw what was happening that I made change. So I didn't even understand really that animals cared. So since we know that they care, right, do you think that there's something that justifies what we do to animals? Is there something we need from we can't get from other sources?
Some things.
Can you think of anything? Can you list them out?
If the animal's been treated ethically, then I think we should do our effort to respect them and use everything we can and throw away as little as possible.
Oh, so what I'm asking is there anything that justifies even using them in the first place? Is there something we absolutely need to use from them that justifies farming and using them regardless what's in their best interest?
I think so, yeah.
Can you list those out?
Not off the top of my head. I did come in here off the street. I saw you guys, so I haven't had time to
appreciate you
think
doing
about
that. That's okay. So some people might say we need minerals or nutrition from them. Some might say we need their leather. Some might say that we have to test on them because we don't have other methods. Would you agree that if we have alternatives, that the moral choice would be to not use the animals?
I think that would be a consideration, yes.
Yeah, I think we all agree that we don't want to be exploited unnecessarily, right?
Yeah, especially not by people like Elon Musk.
Yeah, nobody. I don't want to be exploited by anybody. I don't care what your advantage is, right? Yeah, no, I totally agree. So I want to know, like, what's stopping you leaving this conversation and living with the options you have in front of you, living vegan?
I love steak too much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think about the cow? What do you think the cow thinks about being turned into the steak?
That's an interesting question. I'll have to give that a think when I walk away here.
Well, what do you think about it right now?
Because I got a lot of things to think about.
Do you think that a cow, when they're having a knife drawn across their throat, thinks, at least I had a good life? Or do you think they think, I want to live?
I know too much about that industry, unfortunately.
Do you want to keep supporting it?
as I said, steak is too tasty. So
Do you think your pleasure justifies violating someone's body?
oh, that's an interesting direction to take it in. But
So we have a dog here. Let's say that I get pleasure from kicking dogs. It's a grotesque example, but let's say I get pleasure from kicking a dog. Does my pleasure matter more than the dog's experience, or does the dog's experience matter more?
that is reserved comment on that.
Okay. Can I give you a card?
I'll be fine.
So you don't want to look into it?
I'll look into it on my own time.
Okay. Well, I encourage you to watch Dominion. It's free on YouTube. It just shows you standard practice. And just imagine if they're dogs, because the animals, the cows, they're actually called grass puppies. And these animals are all sentient, just like the dog. They want to live. They don't want to feel suffering. They want to feel comfort and joy, right, and happiness. So when you look at the package that you're picking up, or you're going to a friend's house, you're literally putting in the demand for the next individual to go through that system. And you could stop 100 to 300 individuals from being born into that system. So you have a lot of power. I just want you to know that you can make a difference. I understand you're in a unique situation, but if you took a card, it would just give you resources to look at, just options. Could I give you one? Okay. Well, here, I'll hand it to you. You decide what you want to do, and then we can end the conversation if you wish.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, enjoy the sun.
Will do.
All right. Have a good day. Yeah, such love. What a love, you puppers. Yeah, so happy. He didn't want to have a conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just ending it basically constantly. So that's okay though. We'll find another conversation. I think that, it's still worth it to talk to people. Oh no. That might be, is this his, I don't know. Oh, well, he's right there. Do you want to go hand it to him? Yeah. I just have the microphone. Oh, I guess I could hand you the microphone. I have 20 cats. Oh, wow, that went way back. Yeah, it doesn't matter if they taste similar or not. It's about someone. Oh, hey, what's up, Chip? How many more animals are you going to exploit, bully? Yeah, exactly. Exploit and bully. I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree. Like, once you realize what's happening and that you can make a difference and change, that's what I think everyone should do. I think that once you learn that some habit you have is harming others, that you should change. It's okay if it's hard. Sometimes doing the right thing isn't always easy. But personally, I found going vegan to be really easy. There was maybe some friction within my social circles, but really that was still not even that bad. So I encourage everybody to go vegan, and if you do experience some of that social friction I was talking about, look for vegan communities. There's lots of them. So we're here to support each other. You can even reach out to me. I'm totally here for you. All vegans want to support each other. We're goofy. Yeah, we can be silly sometimes. Don't be discouraged by the trolls in here. Some of them think animal abuse is okay. Be smart, be vegan. Such great advice, Chip. Thank you. Veganism is actually not more expensive. It's inexpensive. It's like, it can be like something like 16 to 30% cheaper. Oh, the shade is kind of chilly. I like hamburgers, but I love animals. Yeah, you can have vegan burgers. They're actually quite similar. They taste similar. They cook similar. I mean, you just don't have the exploitation and suffering. Don't force babies into slaughterhouses. Be smart, be vegan. Exactly, Chip. What about the less than 1% who have medical necessity, or the 10% who live in food deserts? I would say that as a people, if we went vegan, we would want to look to helping also our own people, which we already do. A lot of people are fighting for food security. It's incredibly embarrassing that, like, especially here in America, the richest nation in the world, to have food deserts. It's ridiculous, and should be remedied for sure. But those people that are living in those areas, that doesn't mean they can't think critically, right? That doesn't mean they can't think logically. So I'd love to talk to people who are in those areas about their obstacles. But why aren't you vegan, Questreams? You'll get muted if you say bad words or abusive. Okay, well, don't be abusive. You won't get blocked. Yes, hunting is needless violence. Vegans kill more crop dust. Oh, well, actually, you'd be surprised that veganism is actually this ethical stance against the exploitation of others. So even if crop deaths, accidental deaths are happening here, that doesn't justify you enslaving someone over here, right? Second of all, we can improve the way that we grow our crops. You cannot remove the exploitation from using animals. Oh, the chill is getting to me. Where did the sun go? Goodness. It literally got so dark, like so fast. Hey, we're doing interviews. You want to be interviewed? We're just talking about the powerful versus the powerless. Nothing political, but I mean, it's definitely it's understandable that it would sound that way. It's mostly about animals. You guys want to have a conversation? You can leave too anytime. You can just walk away if you're like, I'm too uncomfortable. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah? Awesome. Okay. So we'll step out to here so that you're in frame. Yes. Oh, actually, I'm going to have you turn so I'm going to be talking to you. You both are. Yeah. Yeah, well, sort of. I don't know who put that sticker down, but
that's just a coincidence.
Yes.
Oh my
God.
God.
We just put our stuff now. I'll have you another half step forward. Yes, now we can see you. Cool. All right. I'm Anna. What's your name?
Shana.
Shana.
I'm Elijah.
Elijah? Elijah. Wow, I totally. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Okay, Elijah. What was your name? I just. Shana. I got like all flabbergasted there. I'll give you guys a card so you can find the live later. Awesome. That's our website right there, the anti-animal use. You can scan that or just look it up. But yeah, what brings you out here to the lovely corner out in Portland?
Just visiting.
Just visiting. Where you from?
I'm from San Diego, yeah.
San Diego?
I live in San Diego, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. Welcome, guys. Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to see in Portland, so yeah, you're in a perfect spot. I'll jump to it, so I'll get you going. We're asking about the powerful versus the powerless. Do you think someone who has an advantage, someone who has like strength, or maybe they're really smart, should have the right to oppress those that don't have that advantage? I agree. It seems really straightforward. So what do you think about when it comes to the animals that we use for food, clothing, entertainment, like vivisection or maybe like circus or zoo? Would you agree that we're the oppressors in that situation? The animals are the powerless?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's like the rehabilitation centers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which
I can totally get behind helping others, for sure. But I guess my issue with zoos specifically, personally, is more like when I'm in the hospital, I don't really want people gawking at me when I'm healing. Yeah. And if that's what the zoo is really doing, is rehabilitating. Yeah. I'd rather heal and be left alone. But
agreed, actually. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So what about when it comes to fashion? Do you think that we should raise animals specifically for their hair, fur, feathers, scales? No. I agree. Okay. So here's where it gets a little harder. What about when it comes to animals and food, when we use them for food? Do you think that there's a justification? Maybe there's something we can only get from them that justifies what we do to them?
I feel like in some certain ways, like if you go out and you're hunting and you're doing stuff like that.
Is there something that justifies that hunting in the first place? Is there something you need from them? Because they want to live, right? Yeah. So if someone wants to live, but you want to take their life, you better have a good justification, right?
I can see that.
Yeah.
But that's for hunting. Wouldn't that be like for food?
Yeah. So are you talking like in a necessity situation, or do you mean like someone who pays for a license and sits out in the forest?
Like, if you pay for a license and you want to like supply food for your family for the year.
Honestly, yeah, because that actually does save people money. Now that I'm thinking of it.
Yeah. If I could save like money.
If you could save money, what? Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Go ahead.
I lost my.
Oh, that's okay. Well, let's say like it's convenient and inexpensive for me to farm dogs, right? And I could use those for my food. But I live still near Portland.
Dogs.
Yeah. but it would be convenient because it's something my family's done. So it saves me money, and I get fresh dog meat.
Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's okay. Okay, so this is just a hypothetical.
Yeah.
What in your mind makes it wrong to eat dogs?
I don't know. I don't prefer to eat a dog. I wouldn't.
What's wrong with me eating dog?
For me, that's what I was saying. I was saying no for me. I prefer not to. I'm not saying that you.
And I'm not worried about you insulting
Yeah.
me or something, so don't worry. You don't need to tread lightly.
No, I'm just saying, like, for me, no, I'm doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think culturally, we don't eat dogs in the United States. Like, it's like not as common as other countries where that might happen.
So let's say I come from a culture where it does happen, and I get a plot of land, and I'm right near you. Are you going to help me advocate to have a dog farm?
No.
Yeah. So what in your mind makes it immoral for me to farm dogs, but not the other animals like cows, pigs, chickens, and fish?
I thought we were talking about hunting animals.
Well, we're more talking about what is it that we need from animals, and we were talking about saving money, right, and feeding the family.
Overall, no, it's not.
Yeah. I was just giving a hypothetical. What if I had dogs? So I was just trying to say, like, if I had dogs and it was cheaper for me to eat dogs, right, would that make it moral to farm dogs? So
No, we're saying it's not necessarily moral to farm any animals.
Just hunting in general.
That's why we were like, or that's why I was saying.
So let's say there's just dogs running around, right?
But again, culturally, we don't eat dogs.
But what's wrong with me doing it?
You doing it?
Yeah.
Culturally, in the United States, we don't eat dogs.
But I come from a culture where it's okay.
No, I know, but now
So
you're.
tell me. I want to know why, though. This is called begging the question, where you're just repeating the question. You're just saying culture, but culture doesn't make something moral, right? Like the U.S. used to have a culture of enslaving other humans,
For sure.
but that shouldn't have been respected just because it's cultural.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to make the point, is that I understand there are cultures that find certain animals okay to slit their throat, right? But morally speaking, they're all the same. Inherently, we all care about ourselves the same. So that's why I use the dogs, because most people do have that same reaction. We see the personality in dogs. We know that they suffer. They don't deserve that. But we don't see cows, pigs, and chickens. So we're out here just trying to tell you that they're the same. And that although the system is convenient, it can be inexpensive, even hunting, right? Is it really fair to take someone's life who wanted to live when you have other options?
Other options? What other options are you talking about?
Well, where do you live?
San Diego?
Yeah. So you have grocery stores, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have options. You could go down a different aisle. You can put your hand over something else. You don't have to purchase animal products, right?
I mean, I see it, but I mean, I don't know. I think for me, I'd rather prefer getting my protein and stuff from different sources.
But what about the victim, the one that you're taking the protein from? Don't they need it to live?
I mean, so are you going to go to other animals and say you can't kill that other animal because that other animal deserves to live? I mean,
I just want to make sure I understand. Are you saying because animals eat other animals, it's okay for you to eat animals?
I'm just saying, like, other animals hunt each other, right?
Okay. What does that have to do with your choices is what I'm trying to understand.
I mean, I'm choosing to eat my protein.
Okay, so what I said was, you're saying because animals eat each other.
No, I'm just saying, like you were saying earlier that you're eating
You're saying
dogs.
no, but this is literally what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're literally saying because other animals eat each other, you should have the right to eat them. I'm not going to talk to a lion because I can't communicate with them. I can communicate with you. You don't need to use animals. A lion or someone surviving in the wild is surviving a harsh environment. And my point to you is that you have grocery stores. You have options.
Don't have grocery stores.
You don't. You're also a moral agent, right? You know the human constructs are complicated. You can weigh things out. Other animals are moral patients. They care about what happens to themselves, but they may not understand our constructs. Just because someone doesn't understand something, though, doesn't give you the right to violate their autonomy, right? That's why I ask you, like, what is the morally relevant difference between other animals and us? Most people pivot to ableism, their intelligence, what they're able to do, right? But when it comes down to it, if we lost all of our abilities, we would still want to be respected. So, yeah. Can I give you guys have the card. Would you be willing to
Yes.
watch a documentary on your own time?
Oh, potentially, yeah.
Yeah. So if you,
I'm like,
it's on the card.
oh, yeah.
There's actually 2 options. There's a 3-minute and then there's the full documentary. I encourage everyone to watch the full documentary on the back. You can look it up. It's free on YouTube. It's called Dominion. On the front is a 3-minute, just shows you clips. But I encourage you to watch it because whatever you're going to do, you should be an informed consumer. They don't want you to see it for a reason. So it's important you see what you're demanding. This is just inherent. This isn't the worst, right? It's just showing you what has to happen. And you're my neighbors. I know you're from California, but I still want to live in a society where everyone's treated fairly, and the best thing to do is talk to people. So I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
Thank you for being willing to watch that documentary.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you'll both have a great day. Enjoy the sun, enjoy Portland. Yeah, thank you all. All right.
I can talk to the chat.
Yeah, sure. Take your sign.
All right. I don't know how that conversation went. Hopefully it was good, but yeah. We are here today in Portland, Oregon, talking about what is fair and unfair, and whether people have the right or should have the right to oppress the powerless. And animals, for example, we have a power over them. And is it right to do what we do to them? Should we be sending them to slaughterhouses, using them in vivisection laboratories, or for any other exploitative reason? Is that fair? Is that just? Is that right in 2026 when we have other options? But yeah, go ahead and put a TikTok. We don't have very many people, but I know the YouTube, we got a few people. So go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you are a vegan, and a 2 if you are non-vegan. And if you are a non-vegan, go ahead and put your reason why you aren't vegan. Or if you have a question, I don't know, maybe you're curious just about. Might have someone, I don't know.
If you're curious about what we're doing later,
Well, I'm not curious. Maybe you're curious about what I'm just like,
Cows could eat us. They would. Okay, where is the evidence for that? I mean, the animals that we farm are some of the sweetest, animals. But even if that was the case, who cares? Do we need to eat them? Do we base our morality off of what animals do? Also, yeah, then I know the Nike always comes up. First of all, even if I'm being a hypocrite for wearing this, that doesn't then justify you to go and pay for animals to be exploited and enslaved. Also, I've had this for years. I've said this multiple times. I just rewear clothes that I've had for years. I bought this before I was vegan, before I even started even caring about my consumer choices. So, I just wear what I've had for years. The livestock need to have baby. How do you? So, who do you think is controlling these populations? We're the ones breeding them into existence. The only reason why there's so many of them is because we're continuously every single year breeding them into existence. And the leading cause of species extinction is actually animal agriculture. We're wiping out so much land and wiping out, wild species. So if you're worried about species extinction, then you should go vegan. But even these animals, right? I mean, they're not the wild versions, I guess, if you want to call them. They're not the natural versions. They're selectively bred animals. So, over time, yes, their numbers would dwindle, and maybe eventually there wouldn't be any of them around. But I mean, what's better, for you to be bred into existence, exploited, and then, brutally killed, or just to not have existed at all? Plant farms take more land and need more. No, that is not true. Plant farms Well, animal agriculture, right? So, first of all, who do you think consumes the majority of these plants that we grow? It's the animals, right? So, I mean, we're not only clearing land to farm the animals that we farm them in, but we're also clearing land to feed these animals, right? So if we were to just cut 2/3 out of that out and just grow crops directly to feed humans, we'd literally free up 75% of our agricultural land. And that's not just me saying that off the top of my head. This has been researched, and you can go look it up. It's Our World in Data typically has it. 75% of our agricultural land could be freed up if we were to just switch to a plant-based diet, shift towards that. Sorry, thought we had someone maybe for a second. Yeah, if the world adopted a plant-based diet, we would reduce global agricultural land use from 4 to 1 billion hectares. So tons of land freed up. So if you're worried about land being used, then you should be eating a plant-based diet. I am a vegan and my husband is not. I can't sit across the table while he's eating meat. Yeah, that's tough. Being a vegan and dating someone as a non-vegan, I'm sure it's tough. I guess I don't have like the best advice for that. I would just maybe continue to try and show them what animals go through, and obviously it's really important to you, so they need to make the time to understand that and understand why you made that choice. So I think the best thing to do is just explain to them and get them to research and understand why, and hopefully that change will come. That flip will switch in them. But if they're not taking the time to understand, then you should. That's not really fair. They should understand why you've decided to make this choice. Go ahead and put nobody put like a number in the chat. Go ahead and put a 1 if you are a vegan and a 2 if you aren't vegan in the chat. And if you aren't vegan, go ahead and give us your reason why. We're here today in Portland, Oregon at Pioneer Place. I think it's Pioneer Place Mall. We're getting a few people. There's a few people coming out. It's a little loud. I'm fine. I mean, the chat's the same usually as always, but.
Hey guys, how's it going in here? So we're here in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And I see that we've just got a spread of like who's in here. It's good to see. Okay, we got some different people in here. Make sure you're tapping, sharing, interacting. And tell us, those that are not vegan, let us know in short statements why you're not vegan. Maybe we can address it.
Vegan sway stutters are real? I don't know. What do you mean by that? They lack strength from nutrients. What nutrients? Go ahead and list them. What nutrients you're unable to obtain on a plant-based diet. You go ahead.
Hey, what's up, David? I see you. Thank you for being here. When it comes to eggs, I know I'm gonna hold it a little higher just because it's loud in here.
No, you're good.
So when it comes to eggs, it can be a little hidden, but the chickens have been genetically modified, or selectively bred to overproduce eggs. So instead of producing 13 to 15 eggs a year, which is what the red jungle fowl did, we demanded that they be graped over and over again by a male that made their genetics so that they laid eggs every day, or at least multiple times a week. And when you purchase those eggs, you're saying, I'm okay with this process continuing. I'm okay with more animals being subjected to that exploitation. And all of her brothers get ground up usually on the first day of life, if not just gassed. So that's why eggs are, and even if you buy chickens, you're literally demanding that the hatchery still blend up males so that you can buy females that lay eggs for you. So even backyard chickens come from a background of exploitation. And you only got them because you see them as an object for you to use, an egg slave.
Someone said omega-3s. I've also seen B12. Oh, I can. So omega-3s you can get from nuts. Even peanut butter has omega-3s, avocados. Though I know people are going to freak out when you say avocados. So I mean, just don't consume avocados if you're concerned about that. But like nuts, for example. Sorry, there's people screaming. And B12, obviously, you can just take a supplement. There's no, evidence to support that. Having a healthy diet, that has a supplement or taking a supplement or two, is bad for you. But if you're afraid of that, you can just eat fortified foods such as nutritional yeast, plant milks. They're fortified, or you can find fortified ones.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get everything you need from a plant-based diet. We also have, there's the vegan Dailey Dozen you can look up. If you go to antianimaluse.org, you'll also find it there. You can go to nutritionfacts.org and look up Dailey Dozen. It's on there. It's their meal plan thing. But it just basically shows you how to get everything you need from a whole food plant-based diet. Everything. So, hey, Jake Lagatara. Those that aren't following Jake, by the way, go follow Jake Lagatara. He has the Animal Justice 21, which is a program that's supposed to help when you start feeling those cravings or you feel socially isolated, these sites can sometimes help with community and answering questions and, knowing that you're not alone and that, a lot of people have felt the same way as you and just how to get over some of your obstacles. So that's Animal Justice 21. Please go check it out. That's Jake Lagatara. Go follow Jake if you want to also learn more about it. Definitely go do that. There's other ones too if you don't want to support Jake, but please go support Jake. Jake's awesome. He's actually even, I think, creating a dog sanctuary. So
I just want to address this real quick. The abortion, someone's talking about abortion. Even whatever your stance, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, how does that then justify you to continue to exploit and pay for animals to be, unnecessarily killed? Even if you, regardless of our opinions, even if you disagreed with them and you're pro-life, for example, and even if we're being hypocrites in your mind, that doesn't then justify you to continue to do what you're doing to animals, and that's paying for them to be bred into existence, exploited, have their bodies commodified, and then ultimately killed for a product that is not necessary. So,
an abortion also just means the termination of a pregnancy. It doesn't necessarily talk about anything about sentience. We're talking about a medical procedure that someone needs and is talking to their doctor about. It has nothing to do with you. You don't have a right over someone else's body, which is the whole point of veganism, right? We're here to say that you don't have rights over other sentient beings' autonomy. So if you're avidly pro-life or pro-choice but not vegan, you're the one living out of alignment of your own principles, your own ideals of how the world should work. So why aren't you vegan?
Humans are mammals, someone said. Okay, what does that have to do with anything? We are mammals, right? But actually, that's a good point. We are mammals, so we share a lot in common. Well, I guess not necessarily fish, but like these land animals that we breed into existence, for example. We're both mammals, so we have a similar experience of life, right? So in that case, why would we want to cause them harm unnecessarily? If we can share similarities and find commonalities, and honestly, despite even being mammals, even with fish, the commonality is we all have a subjective experience of life, and we can experience fear, pain, suffering. So in that sense, if we don't need to cause that to another living being, directly, then why do that?
I'm pretty sure that mammals are understood to be warm-blooded and give live birth and produce milk when they have a baby, if I'm correct. But you're right, Chip. A lot of people don't even know these basic biological terms. Like when they use the food chain, they don't remember that it was actually to show the transfer of energy, not to show the pyramid of dominance. So, yeah, it is actually quite sad that our education systems have failed us greatly.
Yeah, someone asked where we are. They asked her if we were in Seattle, and we are not. We are in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, I thought you... Oh, yes!
I don't know.
Hello! I didn't see you doing all your
Here.
Yes.
Okay. So my name's Rebecca. What's your name?
I'm Morgan.
Morgan, nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
So when we think about oppression, do you think it's okay for the more powerful to oppress like the powerless or weak or different individuals?
Absolutely not.
No, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of like a no-brainer. But you'll be surprised some of the answers I get from people.
Oh man.
So when we think about animals, and how they're used for clothing and entertainment, food, science. What do you think about the ways that they're oppressed in order to be that for us?
I think I have a unique perspective on this because I am both a beagle owner, and as you probably know, beagles are very often used for experiments because they're crow-friendly. But I'm also a researcher, and I've worked in labs that do work with mice and animals.
Okay.
And I think the most important thing is for everyone to be educated, because if you're not educated, it's very easy to... If the people who are protecting the animals are not educated, it's very easy for those animals who can't speak for themselves to be mistreated. So I think as long as you and me do our part to educate ourselves on animal rights and what ethical placements are put to protect animals, then we can help make sure that they aren't hurt. I think that's what's important, if that makes sense.
Okay. So do you think that animals that are in research labs, then do you think that that is something that they would choose for themselves?
That's an interesting question. I think animals in research labs a lot of times have a much different experience than they would in the wild, because if you, and this coming from the perspective of a research lab that tries to be as ethical as possible, you have animals that are given food, that are protected against pain, that are given their desired environment, whether that's small and dark or large and wide. But I think a lot of places, that's expensive. A lot of places might not put the time and care into that, and that's where you start to have a really bad problem, because these animals can't speak up.
Yeah, and we know that they have sentience. So even though their experience is different from ours, like they want different things in life, it still matters. They have their own subjective experience. Absolutely. They feel emotions.
And people don't take enough care for that.
So how do you, I mean, where do you said that you feel that people that stick up for animals need to be educated. So what about the people that work in the labs? Like, you're one of those people, so...
Not really, but I've seen it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah.
So what about using animals for food? Do you use animals for food? Like, what's
I personally do, for medical reasons. I think that is an interesting question. I was vegan for a part of my life, but do you eat animals, out of curiosity?
No, I'm vegan.
Okay.
So, but vegan on all, it's a moral principle.
Vegan, okay. So vegan through clothes, vegan through products. No, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't agree with using them for science or entertainment, food, anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What made you choose that?
Well, first, I'm going to be honest, I did it for health reasons. My cholesterol was high, and I didn't want to take any pills or anything, and so...
Good for you for finding another path.
Yeah. But then soon after that, it was very soon after that, I just realized just like the horrors that they're put through, because I just started educating more, and I kept, it was like in my algorithm and stuff too, a lot of it just started getting thrown in my face, and so I stopped, but I just I just don't feel like it's not I don't feel like it's necessary to use them.
That's understandable. I think it's hard to convince people to go vegan just because it's so integrated into our culture everywhere. So I think that's an interesting challenge to take on.
What so you said that for medical reasons you still consume animals?
Yes. When I was vegan, I wasn't able to get all the nutrients I needed, and so I did have to give it up. But I do try to still protect animals every way I can, but that's just not something that I personally choose to do.
I'm not a doctor. I don't want to, it's like a very personal thing,
I would prefer not to speak about it.
and you don't have to. I don't want to like invade your privacy and stuff. But If I gave you some of our resources that we have, would you be willing to
I would
kind
love
of
to
look
look into that.
it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
How often are you guys out here?
Well, we're out every weekend, but not at this location every
You move
weekend.
around?
We kind of like move
Okay.
around. So we're like in
Interesting.
Portland and Vancouver.
Nice.
So we're anti-animal use.
Yeah.
And
I would love to look into it.
we have some different resources. Nutritionfacts.org has Dr. Greger on there.
Okay.
And we have 10weeks.org, which is a vegan challenge with free mentors. But the nutritionfacts.org, I don't know, maybe it's something you'd be
Yeah,
interested in.
I'll definitely
'cause,
take a look.
I mean, it sounds like that you care about animals.
I do.
And I guess I'm just really wondering though, can we care about animals and still use them?
That's a fair question.
What do you think about that? Do you think that it makes us consistent with our values, or do you think that it makes us inconsistent?
I haven't really thought about that. I definitely will though. Yeah.
If you looked at nutritionfacts.org and you realized that there were some things that you could do, and with the free mentors, would you try going vegan again?
Maybe. I could see myself doing that.
Okay.
And maybe do like a half diet. I think that would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you.
Yeah, I hope
stopping
you
in.
guys get some people to talk.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hello to the chat. We're here in Portland, Oregon for anybody who's joined more recently and is curious what's happening and where we are. We're here at Pioneer Place Mall. More specifically, hello to TikTok, hello to YouTube. I am Enigma. If you're curious what we're talking about, the topic of today is animal ethics. We're asking, is it ethical to exploit other animals for their flesh, their secretions, their eggs, their milk, for entertainment, clothing, or testing? In any of these realms in which humans put the interests of our animal relatives below our own and try to justify their exploitation, is any of this fair? When we have an alternative and we don't need to exploit animals for any reason, what would be our justification to continue contributing to that system of violence? Let's talk about it. Hello to everybody on YouTube, more than 100 people here, wow. Somebody says, is it ethical for other animals to exploit animals? So the animals you speak of, I'm thinking maybe big cats or bears, animals in the so-called wild who require the flesh of other animals in order to survive and meet their basic caloric intake. We're talking about folks in the Portland area, folks in even rural areas who shop at grocery stores and have access to an alternative. The bear, the big cat, they don't go into a grocery store and buy a prepackaged portion of flesh. They don't have an opportunity to purchase the mock meat or the TVP or the soy curls or the tempeh or the tofu or the seitan instead. But since we do have an alternative, we're asking, shouldn't we exercise that? Should we exercise our choices to not contribute to other animals being exploited and killed on our behalf? Somebody says flavor, so I want to ask, does the pleasure you get, does the satisfaction you receive from consuming a piece of an animal or their milk or their cheese or their eggs, does it justify the exploitation, the violence, and the killing that was required to make that product? Do you prioritize pleasure or justice? Hi, Utops. Hi, Ben from Barcelona. I feel like you've changed your name recently, Ben. Hi, oh, Chip is here. That Vegan for Life is here. I want to say hello to all the vegans. Thank you for being here. I'm going to ask the vegans who are open-minded to put a 1 in the chat. I'm going to ask the non-vegans who are open-minded to put a 2 in the chat. I might have got that mixed up. And then Trolls put a 3. Hi, Chip. Hi. To all the mods, I want to express gratitude. Thank you for keeping this chat somewhat free of discrimination. We're not here to tolerate that. Seeing lots of vegans. I'm also seeing some 2s. So for those 2s, the non-vegans who are open-minded, I want to engage you in this conversation. What justifies exploiting animals for any reason in 2026 when we have another option? Let's start up the conversation. Somebody says, So if you lived off-grid in Alaska, and we find to kill and eat meat to survive the winter. So if I lived in Alaska, I would ship in a big bag of beans, a big bag of lentils, and a big bag of soy curls to survive me the winter. I'd combine that with grains and whatever fruit or veg I could get my hands on. Maybe it would be canned because it's harder to get local stuff there. But I would find a way to sustain my body, to have it thrive on plants only, so that I don't have to contribute to animals being exploited and killed on my behalf. That's how I would operate in that situation.
Someone said, I saw a comment that said, if you lived off the grid in Alaska, so if you live in an area maybe that like you genuinely have no other options, then you could morally, justify, like if you need to hunt for survival, for example, or fish, then yeah, I mean, like if that's your only option, sure, that can be, I guess, justified, right? But I also, to people like that don't necessarily need to live in Alaska, does that make that justified? Because if you're moving into an area or like moving into a situation where you're going to have to exploit, another sentient being, then should you do that?
Right.
But if you find yourself just for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe you had to plane crash, yeah, then you can obviously, I mean, we're not here telling people that if they're surviving out in the wilderness for whatever reason, they have to only go and forage plants, like
if you put yourself intentionally in a situation in which there was only other humans there and there was no plants to eat, there was nothing else to eat, I would say you probably shouldn't do that, because eventually you're going to have to kill a human in order to use their body, right? So if you can choose to not put yourself in that situation in the first place, not put yourself in a situation where you need to use animals for their flesh or their secretions to survive, I think that's preferable if we consider their perspective, if we think from the cow's perspective or the pig's perspective. What do you think?
I want to respond. Someone said, if you care so much about enslaved animals but don't care about actual child slaves, a Nike sweater, you're a walking contradiction. Okay, first of all, I've addressed this so many times, but I'm going to say it again. I just need to get a new sweatshirt because people have hissy fit over me wearing this. First of all, I've had this for years, before I was even vegan and before I even cared about my consumer choices. So I just wear it now because it's clothes that I have, and I'm going to wear it out until it's not good anymore. So yes, I'm wearing this that I bought years and years ago. Me wearing this now has no effect on anybody now. But also, even if I was let's say I did just go and buy this, there's a Nike store right across the street. If I did go and just buy this, and I'm being a hypocrite, that doesn't then justify you to continue to pay for animals to be bred into existence, exploited, enslaved, and ultimately unnecessarily killed for an optional product. So.
Somebody says he's coping. You are coping. You're appealing to hypocrisy. You're saying, because you're inconsistent in some other realm of your life, I'm going to dismiss the topic you're currently talking about. The exploitation that happens within sweatshops to produce certain clothing items is a separate issue from whether humans should exploit other animals for their flesh, their secretions, or any other purpose. Both can be opposed, and both can be. But Nick throwing that jacket in the trash would not help any exploited workers. Somebody says you can't pick and choose. Absolutely, yeah, we consistently oppose all of that exploitation. Wearing something that you were gifted as a child a long time ago before you were given the ability to buy your own clothes is not contributing currently today to people being used in sweatshops. That's not how that works. We support thrifting here from now on, but we don't expect each other to throw out clothes that are functioning. Let's see, accept abortion. I'm not sure what you mean by that. We're here to talk about animal ethics. We're not talking about abortion ethics. If you seem to want to talk about abortion, please find the live that is dedicated to that. Somebody asked, what about vegetarians? So we're here to ask, is it preferable to relate to animals as resources to exploit or as individuals to respect? Somebody who's vegetarian relates to animals as objects or as resources to exploit within the milk, the egg, the entertainment, the testing, and the clothing industries. So we're here talking about all of it. We're saying, should we consistently oppose this system which denigrates other animals and puts them in the status of object? Should we oppose that with our actions and boycott our contribution to them being used and killed? What do you think? Somebody says animals are resources. Do you have this position for dogs as well? If somebody was breeding dogs into existence to use and kill them, would you support this? I imagine you probably wouldn't support that. If you say no to that question, I'm going to ask you, what's the difference between a fish or a pig and a dog that makes it okay to exploit and kill the fish or the pig, but not okay to do that to the dog? Name the trait that justifies the differential treatment, is what I'll ask of you. Somebody says, who's going to harvest all these plants? Humans will. We can equitably harvest plants. That's possible. I agree that capitalist exploitation is an atrocity, and we should abolish that at the same time that we also abolish the system which exploits our animal relatives that we share the planet with. We can oppose both of them, and we ought to. Somebody says, hi, Vegan Anthem. Somebody says, if a mother can't produce milk, how does the baby eat? I think we have things like formula for that. We have alternatives. Somebody says, not a drop of testosterone in there. Well, what's your concern about that? Why is my hormones any concern of yours? And how does it relate to animals being exploited? Let's see. Somebody says dogs are pets. So this is an arbitrary category that you've created. Do you think that separating animals into different categories, like some are pets and some are livestock, is this objective or is this arbitrary and socially constructed? Because there are some places around the world, let's be honest with ourselves, where dogs are also seen as objects and resources to exploit. Just because it's done there, does that make it acceptable? When you consider the dog's perspective, is it acceptable for them, for somebody to exploit them and use them and kill them? If the person who was perpetrating this violence upon them had another option, is any of it justified? Somebody says, people do eat dogs. I understand that. That's the point I'm making. I'm asking, is it ethical to exploit and kill dogs when we don't need to? Let's hear your response. If you think it's unethical for dogs, on what basis is it ethical for fish, pigs, or cows? I'm going to ask you to name the difference between the animals that justifies treating them so very differently. Somebody says, of course he had a pink microphone. I'm glad that there are folks in the chat who recognize that we have a beautiful tech system. We have a beautiful mics here. Somebody says there is no difference. If there isn't a difference between dogs and, for instance, pigs, that makes it justified to kill pigs but not dogs, then on what basis do we continue exploiting and killing pigs? If there's no difference that we can name that justifies treating them so differently, how in the world are we going to continue as a people continuing to exploit and kill those pigs? How could such a glaring inconsistency and contradiction be accepted? I think we should seek to be a lot more consistent and less hypocritical in that sense. Utop says pink doesn't mean gay. That's very true. Colors and gender and sexuality, these things are all socially constructed. There's been moments where pink was seen as a more manly and heterosexual color, but today it's associated with queerness, just reinforcing that all of this is made up, arbitrary, and harmful, honestly. Somebody says dogs should not be on a pedestal. They're equal to rats. Okay, do you think it's justified then to kill dogs, to exploit them for their flesh? Let me know. Somebody says if animals weren't supposed to be eaten, why did God make them out of food? I want to ask you, if humans weren't supposed to be eaten, why do we have meat and flesh on our bones? It's because we're an animal, and most all animals have some flesh on their bones. But just because we could provide somebody some amount of calories or protein, is it justified for someone to take our life when they didn't need to, when they had another source, a plant-only source for those calories and protein? I would prefer, speaking personally, that somebody opted for the alternative and didn't objectify me and steal my life from me. Somebody says dogs are a tool. This seems like a very toxic way to view dogs. I see them as individuals with personalities of their own. I don't see myself as a dog owner, but as a guardian. Somebody says, people do eat humans. I realize that. There are serial killers, there are Jeffrey Dahmers, there are some folks who even have a tradition of using humans, exploiting them and killing them. I'm asking you, is that justified? When those people could have simply ate plants and had their bodies thrived, is sacrificing, or better yet, exploiting and killing humans, is it justified just because it happens? If not, I want to ask, what's the difference between myself and a pig that makes it acceptable to exploit and kill the pig, but not me? What separates me from them? I'm an animal as well. Yes.
Okay. You're going hard there. Thank you. I was like, I gotta jump in, I gotta save you. Oh my gosh, guys. I actually had a great conversation with a group of young girls, women. I should say women, because they weren't little. They were women, but they weren't 18 yet, so they couldn't be on camera. But we still had a really decent conversation. Just trying to straighten the cameras out here. There we go. How's everyone doing? We're here in beautiful Portland, Oregon. Portland. I don't know. I'm being weird now. I'm feeling pretty good. Talking to a lot of good people. Hi. You want to have a conversation? Okay. All right. Fair enough. Enjoy your day. It's great weather out. Humans are animals. I'm sort of a Portland woman. I'm more of a Pacific Northwest woman. I was born in Salem. I live in Vancouver now, visiting Portland. Just the worst. I don't know what you're talking about. I saw something about a weight. You talking about the bridge? I don't know. Oh yeah. Oh, why can't they be on camera if they're 18? I'm just kind of protecting them from themselves. Because when you're younger, you might say stupid things, and I don't want it to be held against anybody. So that's more what I'm thinking about. Because when you're younger, you don't understand the consequences of your actions, and putting something on the internet, it can be permanent, you know. So I just trying to protect them from themselves. They actually did come back with some great responses. Hey Jake, good to see you. But like half of them were really receptive, and then a couple of them were like kind of standoffish and started talking about horses, which I do understand how horses can be misleading. You know, it might seem like horses are only happy when you're riding them, right? They get depressed when you can't ride them. It's because they're often groomed to think that the only time they're going to have fun and play is when you're on their back, right? Otherwise, they're like locked up in a barn, or most of them, they're not free roaming. Some of them are, but still, you're teaching them the only time you're going to play with them is when you're on their back. When you look at horses out in the wild, they never have anyone on their back. And that shows you that they just naturally have a preference to not be ridden. So, I eaten a horse before. Okay, well, that just shows that you're consistent with exploiting others, but do you think that that was moral, you know, to take their life when you could have just eaten something else? We don't need animals to eat, actually. There's nothing we need from them. And if you think that we do need something, I suggest you go look into that. Go Google it, go read studies, go be educated, go learn. Do you actually need this? You're going to learn, no, you don't. It's more like horse riders don't understand the exploitation they're causing. They're literally beating a child into submission for them to ride on their backs, and saying that, oh, they only like it when I ride their back. And it's like, genuinely, they don't. You just have deluded yourself to think so, and groomed them to understand that's the only time they can be happy. So, so it's not so much about what you're doing, or what you did. It's more like what's stopping you from living an ethical lifestyle that's in alignment with your own principles anyway, right? Yes, Jake, thank you. So go check out Jake Laguitar's Animal Justice 21. He just mentioned that he has studies listed on there about this very thing. I've never had a problem taking a life, especially in the service, so I don't have a problem with eating life to sustain myself. Don't you think that sounds terrible? Does that really the society you want to live in, where people have no problem taking each other's life, violating each other's autonomy, ignoring each other's consent? Is that really the society you want to live in? So the issue with seeing someone as a pet is that you're seeing them as a thing for you to use, a resource for your entertainment, versus someone who genuinely needs your care. I care because if I was the victim, I would want someone advocating for me and at minimum just not demanding my exploitation. So yeah, that's why I care, because someone needs to. They care. It is taking life. How did you get their body parts on your plate? They weren't just magically changed from being a living being to not. They had a physical object dragged across their throat, and they were literally hung upside down to drain everything out of them. It is taking life, and you're deluding yourself to think otherwise. I would argue that those that still use animals and know what they're doing are the fools. Fools! Yes, so just because other animals do things that you would deem immoral, that doesn't give you the license to also be immoral. This is how the real world functions. Well, thank you for telling me that. I'm so glad that your perspective knows how everything works. That's amazing. We're not talking about nature, we're talking about morals. Maybe go look up the words and find out what they mean. We're talking about what's right and wrong. Nature is not right and wrong. Nature is nature. We left nature. We have houses, we have phones, we have medicine, right? We said, nature, take a hike. We're gonna live and we're gonna live fairly, right? That's what all this is about. Nature is not fair. So just because things are happening in nature, that doesn't give you the right to do it. Teach your children to hunt mushrooms. Seek out local fauna, right? Not the animals, but the plants. Everybody has morals. It's just whether or not you're actually living in alignment with them. We should know better. Yeah, so again, I don't know if I made it clear. The Animal Justice 21 is a group where you can relate with other people that are trying to figure out how veganism fits in their life and how to overcome obstacles, and just to have a community to talk to. So please go check out Animal Justice 21. That's from Jake Lagatara. Thank you, Jake, for being here, by the way. And you're right. Everyone should know better. I mean, you know, it's funny, growing up, my parents, if I did anything to an animal, were like, how would you like if that was done to you? Like, everybody knows that they feel. Everybody knows that they interpret things similarly, you know? So it's just like, how can we forget about that when it comes to the cows, pigs, chickens, fish, goats, turkeys, whoever else you can think of that we exploit, right? Yeah, vegetarians still exploit other animals. Vegetarians still see animals as a resource for them to use. That's why vegans don't typically get along with vegetarians, because vegetarians are doing it to not have the animal throat slit, but they don't understand that dairy and egg industry are the same industry as the chicken flesh and the cow flesh industries. Yeah, if this country wanted to stop it, they could, and that's why we're out here. How does any rights movement move forward? One person at a time, having a conversation, right? And each person then having conversations, just living through example, right? That's exactly what happens. And the more and more people that live by their values, the more moral country this place will be, a more moral neighborhood you'll have, right? That's really what I care about, are my neighbors and the society that I live in. I want to live in a society that's fair for everybody. This is what unemployable and lazy looks like. I mean, Ezekiel, you're right here. What does that say about you? Wow, user, that's a threat of violence, and I'm going to take a screenshot of that and keep monitor of you, so be careful of what you say. Something about taking their pew-pew and aiming it at vegans. Oh, your gun eats a lot of metal, huh? That's nice. Yeah, your eyes must be going out. It's all that cholesterol. This is actually jewelry. Yeah, so this is like one of the most that's what I'm looking for. Patriotic things I can do in this country is speak up to those around me, right? That's what this country is all about, is speaking up for the country you want to live in. So many childish responses.
Yeah.
Okay. Marshmallows are also a problem. There's vegan marshmallows. You can make vegan marshmallows too. There's recipes online. I see a lot of triggered people in here. Look, I understand your feelings are hurt because you realize you're doing something that's actually out of alignment with your own principles, but you can alleviate that by just living vegan. Sorry, I'll step back so you can come in here a little more. Yeah, I'm okay with you being shoulder to shoulder. I don't care. You can come in here.
I have cooties, maybe. No, just
No,
kidding.
I'm not worried about that. I could see extremely triggered. Here, I can hold that. I feel bad that you grabbed it. Yeah. Hey, David, that's a good idea. So all those that are vegan, please put a 1 in the chat.
Yeah.
All those that are not vegan, put a 2 in the chat. And, you know, if you're anything else, do whatever you're going to do. And while you're doing that, I'm going to remind that we're here in Portland, Oregon. We're in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And, you know, a nice little corner where we actually get a lot of eyes everywhere. So it is typically a pretty crowded area. Right now it's kind of calmed down, but I think it's because of the sun. As soon as the sun pops out, we'll see more people.
Yeah.
We're looking to have conversations with others to see if they live in alignment with their own principles. So while we're doing that, we're going to ask you a couple of questions, see why you're not vegan. So I see we have a nice spread, a lot of 1s and 2s, and some randoms. Okay, so I want to know, all those that didn't put a 1, if you can keep it short because it's going to fly by possibly, why are you not vegan? Maybe we can answer that in the chat for you. Okay, so again, I see more triggered people.
So not every animal is an herbivore. Does that justify what you do in using them for food, clothing, science, entertainment, whatever? It usually doesn't. We're focused on you as an individual. So yeah.
Nope. Okay, never mind. Because it's the food chain. So food chains actually measure the movement of energy in a system. They're not about dominance, because the top of the food chain are carnivores. Humans are omnivorous, so we're more like with shrimp and pigs. And every time you take a step up, or you go on a next level of that pyramid, whatever you're consuming, you lose 90% of that energy. So if you're eating an animal, you're eating someone, you lose 90% of the resources that go into it. That's what the food chain represents. Just shows that using others, exploiting others is highly inefficient. Yeah, let's stop wiping out any life, including in our oceans. I agree. Yeah, you don't need to eat fish. You can eat flaxseed, Karen. I didn't really see a Karen. I just shouting out. I actually saw a t-shirt that said that, and I thought it was funny.
The thing that people forget about fish too is that a lot of fish and seafood has a lot of high mercury levels in it now, and microplastics. So it's really kind of suspect, even if you say, "Oh, I'm a pescatarian." Well, check your mercury levels. You might be getting toxic.
Yeah.
You know, and having plastic in your body.
There's also been some investigations into fish farms, so definitely check out that footage. Look up fish farm undercover footage. You will find what happens to those fish. They don't look healthy at all. They're suffering. They actually call them zombie fish because they end up losing chunks of their face. They get lice. They actually have to bleach them. So, I mean, what kind of life is that? And not to mention, they're kept in these tiny circular pools. This is all welfare issues. Even if you brought someone out of the water that was free, it's still not fair to use them and take their life. Let's see, David. Do you think that to yourself when you bit into a carrot, are you equating an apple to a dog? Yeah, that's hilarious. That people lose it. They when it's their choices that need to change, they lose all logic right out the window. It's wild. Can you address the microplastic animals that people eat without knowing? Microscopic animals. I saw microplastics. Microscopic animals. So we're here talking about what you can do, right? We're talking about when you have options, not demanding someone's exploitation. So not seeing someone as something. If incidental deaths happen, we exist, we're going to bump into things that happens, but you can make choices, and in those choices, should you make the immoral choice or the moral choice? What do you think? Yeah, please don't spam. I have mods in here and they will manage the chat.
If hunting gets banned in Oregon, this whole state is not going to fall apart. It's just going to shift.
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's a speciesist type of.
There's other methods that we can, if we really need to mess with someone's population, there are things we can do without taking their life. There's even birth control, right? What would you rather have, not be able to have kids or not live, right? So I would rather live. And I think that if we really need to, we can look at those options. But yeah, we don't need to hunt. We don't need to poo-poo anybody. Yeah, I'm not your ruler. I'm actually here to say you're living hypocritically. You're not living in alignment with your own values. And I want you to feel that cognitive dissonance so you make change, because the animals are desperate for it. They're losing everything because you keep thinking about it and not taking action. The Animal Justice Network covers some of the investigations in the U.S., and you can find fish investigations. That's on Animal Justice 21. Jake, remind me, is that .com or .org? I can't remember. Yeah, there's a map, Animal Ag Watch, on Jake Lagatara's Animal Justice 21. Org, thank you. I almost said com. So animaljustice21.org. Please go check them out. Jake Lagatara is the brains behind that. There you go, vegan and pro-life. You can address everyone that talks about abortion. I now knight you as the one. Would I eat humans if I could? No, I'm not interested in that, even with consent. But would I care if other people did that? I don't really care. Part of me does wonder is, even if we give consent, is that going to normalize it? And then is it going to make people want to try it without waiting for consent? That's the only concern I'd have. It's like that slippery slope idea. But anyway, that's not about veganism.
That's horrifying. Like reminds me of that movie, Silence of the Lambs. I keep thinking about the guy who wanted to eat them, and then the other guy who made skins, we do that. Clothing out of human flesh.
Do that.
Yeah, and we do that with animals or other animals, and people think that's perfectly fine.
I actually had someone in that group say that we should be making clothes out of animal skin, and I was like, okay, now switch the animals for humans. Is this still a good idea? And then they're like, animals and humans are not the same. It's like, yes, we're not the same, but we're in the same. That matters. Inherently, I care about my life just as much as they do. Man would not survive on plants. I know that's your emotions talking, because the evidence shows that we will thrive. And we'll even have a greener planet. We'll have healthier outcomes for us humans. But most importantly, we wouldn't be enslaving somebody. We wouldn't be exploiting someone and violating our own principles and their autonomy. So,
and don't forget about the women. Women, how about people will survive on plants?
Yes.
I can tell by your language, and I'm sorry if you get offended by this, but by saying the whole man won't survive on on plants, I can tell a little bit about you.
Man will just die out, and the rest of us will thrive.
Yeah, yay, women have everything now, yay.
Oh my gosh, or at least those that identify themselves like that guy, Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be nice. A much quieter, calmer, safer way, a world to live in.
I don't know, some women are pretty horrible.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
I would honestly put them under that same category. It's like, it's not so much the man, it's more like that ego, that stupid patriotic egoism. It's disgusting. It's gross. Breathe in, breathe out. You just took in particles of humans and animals. Yes, so again, veganism is an ethical stance against the exploitation of other sentient beings, other animals, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can avoid demanding someone's exploitation, I do, and that's what veganism is. And then if you don't feel like that's far enough, you can become an animal rights activist, start speaking up for them. We're just acting how we would want our oppressors to act, not demanding our oppression and even speaking up for us.
We're not brain dead. I think that we're using our brains actually a little bit more than the common person, and it may be hard for you to absorb what we're saying because it might be new information to you, or you're feeling defensive.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but we're just kind of like on a different. And sorry, I'm not trying to say we're superior, but we're just kind of like looking at things in a bigger, grander scheme of things, trying to reduce harm and violence. So.
Yeah. Mostly I just don't want to support someone's exploitation. I don't want to demand someone be enslaved. So it's really what it comes down to, is I just don't see other someone's as something because it benefits me and it's convenient.
Yeah.
Can you be Catholic and vegan? Yeah, of course.
There's discussion around whether Jesus was actually a vegan or not. Christspiracy, the movie, talks about that. I saw there was this vegan preacher that I listened to an interview on Vegan Linked on YouTube. I wish I could remember his name now, but
what was it?
Yeah, the vegan preacher on Vegan Linked. I forget what his name was, but it was a great interview. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Though.
Yeah. So,
yeah. There's actually also a vegan heretic who is on here, and I believe Daniel, I don't remember what your full name is on here, if it's Daniel Broccoli or not, but go seek out Daniel Broccoli as well. So Daniel Broccoli and Vegan Heretic are great resources. Christspiracy is really a great documentary, so I urge everyone to go watch that, even if you're not religious. It's just an eye-opening film. But yeah, if you have questions that are related to Abrahamic Christian ideals and values and what happens in the Bible, what God says, go watch that documentary and then reach out to Vegan Heretic or Daniel Broccoli. I like to think of myself as a hen, yeah.
I know.
Hens
I
are
was
cute.
like, that's not insulting.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're
I
like
love
so
it when they sit
awesome.
there and talk to each
I know,
other.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. Honestly, I always
They're
feel
loving.
honored when animals talk to each other in front of me because I feel like they trust me then to have that conversation.
Yeah. And hens will protect their young ones underneath their feathers,
Oh, yeah, we
from
definitely do
rain
that
and all
here.
kinds of stuff. It's
Get
beautiful.
out of here, it's my chick.
Yeah, it's like people don't see this stuff about them, and they have all these characteristics that are just amazing.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure you're tapping, liking, sharing, interacting. Let's get those hearts pumping out of there. I know there's all the vegans that are in the TikTok chat. You've been working so hard. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you're just popping into the live, make sure you share, tap, interact, ask us questions. We're here in beautiful Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall. And I'm actually going to hand the mic off to some other members so they can chat at you. All right, I haven't done the number thing.
All right, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you are a vegan and a 2 if you're a non-vegan, and then if you are non-vegan, go ahead and explain why.
I just want to peek at the time. Okay, cool.
We got what, about 20?
For like 2 more conversations.
Okay. Do you want to, if we don't get any by 2, did you want to wrap up? Or?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because we're doing until 2, not 3.
Yeah, it's, I just didn't know I didn't know if you wanted to wait a little longer after 2 to see if we could get.
I'm totally open to playing it by ear if someone wants to talk to us. Hey, you want to have a conversation? We're interviewing people on YouTube. You want to be interviewed? Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll interview them. Here, I'll give you a sign. All right. So I'll have you stand right there. Awesome.
What does this look like?
I'm sorry?
How you doing?
Oh, I don't think we should have this conversation. You seem a little intoxicated. Yeah, we'll just end it here. Yeah, you just don't seem like you're having a good time right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, right on. I'm gonna let you carry on. We're trying to.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have you walk on though. I appreciate you.
I gotta go way over there.
Oh, you go wherever you want. We're just gonna end the conversation because I don't want you to. While you're intoxicated, I'd rather talk to somebody who's who's sober right now. So. All right. You have a good day.
I'll see you later.
All right. I'll see you later. You have a good day. Sure.
Yeah, like I said, go ahead and I'm back. So put a 1 in the chat if you're vegan and a 2 if you're not. Animals and humans are not the same thing. I agree, we're not the same, but what is the morally relevant difference between us that justifies exploiting, enslaving, and harming animals? Doing that to animals, but not to humans. Two, because evolution made me so. So you think that because you can do something that you should do that? Because we can do a lot of things. Evolution has made us be able to do a lot of things. Evolution has given me the ability. We've evolved to with these hands and have fists, and I could go and punch people, I could kick people with my legs. Does that mean I should do that? But evolution, dictated that, right? So that means it's okay. I'm going to say this again. Go ahead and put a 1 if you're, because I'm not seeing very many. So put a 1 if you are vegan and a 2 if you're not. And if you're not vegan, just give us a reason why. Or if you're curious, you can ask a question. You need meat. What about meat do you need? What is found in meat that you specifically need? Mental health talking therapy advises depressive anxiety patients to eat to eat red meat. I've never heard of that, but if that's true, what's the evidence that eating meat is going to help your mental health? I'm very curious, actually. No real man is a vegan, sorry. So I guess real men, exploit and dominate and oppress. Those are who are not as strong as them and innocent. Is that what being a real man is? Two, they just said vegan is only about eating. I don't think any of us said that. Veganism is about the rejection, of animal use, of animal exploitation. Unnecessary exploitation. We don't need to be using these animals in any way, shape, or form in 2026. We have alternatives. Maybe not. I know people are gonna freak out and say not everybody. Yeah, maybe not everybody in the world has an alternative, but the majority of us do. Especially if we're living here in a Western country, we have alternatives to not exploit animals, and the people commenting have a phone, so you obviously have access to a store. Or some other option. So yes, you don't need to consume animals. But again, veganism isn't a diet. Not only, it's not just about diet-wise or eating animals. You don't need to, buy products that are tested on animals or skincare, right? Or you don't need to, go to zoos or circuses, right? You don't need to wear animal skin or fur. Why does it matter if you eat meat or veggies? It matters to the animal. When people say this, they're not really thinking about what the animal goes through. It's always about, personal choice for the humans, but what about the personal choice for the animal? They don't want to be exploited, do they? So what justifies that? Humans, believe it or not, we're not the only sentient life on this planet. So, it shouldn't always be what we want. It's not all about us. So we just eat animals, overpopulate. So we are the ones controlling their population sizes. We breed them into existence, and that's why their, populations are so big. If the majority of people shifted towards a plant-based diet and the world slowly went vegan or towards plant-based eating, the numbers of these animals would go down. And so the numbers of these animals would go down, right? And so they wouldn't be overpopulating. And in fact, we'd even be able to rewild a ton of wild species that are actually going extinct because animal agriculture. That's not about overpopulating, but, it's just pointing that out there. But the animals wouldn't overpopulate. Because, ideally, sure, if we could snap our fingers, sure, we could make the world perfect and vegan and, free of just any harm, whether animal or human. But obviously that's not realistic, so it's most likely going to be a gradual change. And so in that case, these population sizes will go down over time. We got 15 minutes left. I don't know if we'll get another conversation, but It's never going to happen. You know, that's the same logic people use to justify any other atrocity in history, right? People, women's rights, for example, I'm sure there were men saying it's never going to happen. Women are never going to be equal to men, never have equal rights. But change was made, obviously, through people, you know, standing up and saying this is wrong. So with that mindset, yeah, nothing will change if we just decide to, you know, do nothing about it. So you're right, if we just sit around and do nothing about it, but, you know, if you go vegan or make that change, come out, be an activist, you know, speak up for the animals, you know, people will change, and over time, you know, we'll see a substantial change. Just tastes too good. So because something tastes good, is that justification to continue to do something? Oh, he just compared women to wild animals. Yeah, I draw an equivalence to one atrocity to the other. You don't even have to put them on the same level. You don't have to think, you know, you can think one's worse. It doesn't matter. They're both atrocities. They're both injustices. So, I mean, you're okay, or you're against one injustice, but you're okay committing another one? Animals are food. I mean, you could be food. Humans could be food. You're made of meat, right? With that logic, if animals are food and that's the justification that you give, that would, you know, then equate to me, I could literally go and kill a human because they're food, right? That's my justification. They're food. I think there's bigger issues in the world, man. It doesn't matter whether you think there's bigger issues or there's 100,000 issues, I'm sure, in the world, but why contribute to an issue that you don't need to? If you don't need to demand an animal suffer and be exploited, then why do it? It doesn't matter if there's all these other issues. You don't need to, you know, do this. Guys, somebody else want to talk? I'm getting annoyed with these people.
Way too close to her. Here you go. Yeah, thank you. Dubs in the chat for Grass-Fed. If you're not following Grass-Fed, please go follow him. He's on TikTok, Instagram, maybe YouTube one day we can get him to do it. But yeah, please go follow Grass-Fed Human, Grass-Fed_human. It's a really good name too. So how's everyone doing in here? Yes, dubs in the chat for Nick. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, exactly. When it comes to like medical procedures, it's interesting that we're so focused on something that hardly happens near as often as like, I mean, it's fine. You can advocate for whatever human cause you want. That's not why we're here. I'm not here to trash on whatever you stand up for. That's totally fine. But you can be vegan at the same time. It's interesting that people come here to fight for that cause, but not fix their own hypocrisy, you know? For people? Oh, you mean like the outreachers? Yeah, it's hard to coordinate schedules, especially as working people. Evenings and weekends get really hard because a lot of us are working. And I'm sure most of the people in the chat understand, you know, you don't often get weekends and nights off. You work during the day. So we work with the schedule that we all have that's available. There are others that actually do enjoy participating with us, but they just can't. They got to work, you know, it just happens. It's life. It would be nice if we could not be burdened to have to always work and be able to speak up for atrocities that are happening. Yeah, we need more grass-fed humans. I know, it's such a good name. It's not a first world problem. I would argue that other countries that are struggling, if they wanted to live plant-based, is because of Western countries incentivizing the growth, the cultivating of grains to feed animals. So if we stopped enslaving animals, we could feed the world. We could feed everybody their whatever foods they want. They just wouldn't come from sentient beings that need to be fed. We could eat plants, seaweed, and fungi. We can thrive. We can reduce our ag land use by 75% while feeding 10 billion humans and not enslaving or exploiting others. Doesn't that sound nice? Isn't that the world you want to live in? It's possible. You can do it. Don't you look back at the history books at people that made change that makes your life better and think, I want to be like them, or at least I want to support those people? You know, do the right thing. When you see that they're doing the right thing, do the right thing. Is it possible to be against abusing animals and still eat meat? No, it's not. Humans do not need animal flesh. You can eat something else. And if you're doing something in a survival situation, that doesn't give you the right to exploit them in the options of when you have more options. My words. Make sure that you're tapping, sharing, liking. We're in Portland, Oregon, in front of the Pioneer Place Mall, waiting to have, I don't know, I'm looking for at least one more conversation with somebody about their values and if they're living in alignment with them. Do I support wildlife management? I'm not a conservationist, but I do want more vegan conservationists because they would actually consider the individuals instead of thinking, what's the cheapest, easiest way to clear an area or to rid something, right? They always just jump to pew-pewing or to trapping. I just think that that's just not fair. And if they were humans, like what would we do, right? If humans were invading some area or overpopulating, we try to communicate and work with them, right? Of course I'm in Oregon. Yes, the gray, I know. Of course it's Oregon. It's gray. I just hunt animals for a living, was born with morals and ethics, not assumptions. Yeah, so what makes it okay to go out in the wild and pew-pew an animal in their home versus just doing that to a human in their home? What's the morally relevant difference, right? Yeah, I understand the opinion to not like humans, but we're here, and I wouldn't want innocent humans being harmed or having their life stolen from them. So the best thing we can do is, while we're here, be careful about those around us, be mindful of those around us, and not demand their exploitation, right? That's the best we can do. I appreciate y'all tapping in there, sharing and interacting. We really do want to get more people in here. TikTok live is new, so it could be why it's not getting as much traction, but we got up to like 400 people up here in the YouTube chat. So I know that people want to see these conversations. They want to have their questions answered. It's just, I don't think TikTok's sharing our algorithm over there. There actually is plenty of agricultural land to feed the world and then some. So the study is called Reducing Food's Environmental Impacts Through Producers and Consumers. Go look it up. It's the largest meta-analysis on the subject. They go over thousands of farms in hundreds of countries, and they found that we've definitely utilized most of our ag land, 83% of it, in fact, to just raising animals, land animals, for their food and the space that they take up. 83. They only give us 18% of our total calories. 18. So we're not feeding the world using animals. We're actually burning the world and harming humans, and we're enslaving someone. So if we stop doing that, we reduce our ag land use by 75% and feed 10 billion people. So rewild North America and Brazil combined, that land equivalency, and still feed 10 billion people a fully nutritious diet. We're only at 8 right now. 8 billion. There were almost 500 people in here. Damn. Well, I appreciate people popping in here being curious. I just want to answer questions. I just don't see their questions anymore. If you're a vegan, put a 1 in the chat. If you're not vegan, put a 2 in the chat. And everyone else do whatever you're going to do. Spam a green heart. Yeah, so abortion's a medical procedure between someone who is pregnant and their doctor, right? It's not about your choices, what you're doing when you go into the grocery store. So why aren't you vegan? Vegans eat plants, seaweed, and fungi. There's something called the Vegan Dailey Dozen right here on the back of this card. Just shows you all the servings you would need of each plants. They got beans, fruits, veggies, seeds, whole grains, berries, and beverages. Like beverages like water. You need to have like at least 5 to 8 servings of water. Yeah, we actually don't provide more flesh because we don't put that demand in. They actually reduce how many animals they breed into existence. So there's actually less. Less plants are harvested by vegans than animal abusers. Yep, because you have to feed the animals that you use, and they eat plants. And guess what? They eat a lot of plants. A cow eats more than a person does every day. And we're breeding 92.2 billion animals that we have to feed every year. Every year. There hasn't even been 92.2 billion humans on Earth ever. Just imagine what we're doing to countless species, and not only are we doing it to them, we're also affecting wild species. Animal ag is one of the leading causes of biodiversity loss. So not only are we hurting our planet and ourselves, we're enslaving someone and we're hurting their neighbors. Yeah, I agree. Plants' diet is God's diet, because at least the Abrahamic God made it very clear what perfection is, and that is not using animals, it's living vegan. Do vegans feel moral if they use insecticide? I think it comes down to the necessity. So do you need to protect your crops? That's one thing, right? Have you done everything you can before using pesticides? You know, these are the things that a vegan would do first. Like, what can I do that doesn't harm them, that just motivates them to move away, right? And it's not until it comes to, this is my final option, that you go, all right, insecticide it is, because I have no other options. I need to eat, I'm gonna protect my food. I've grown food in my backyard, and I have white moths and other like slugs and other bug neighbors that people call pests. But I allow them to consume whatever they consume, because I have grocery stores, I still have options. Even though I did put the effort to grow that stuff, I don't find it justified for me to wipe them out, right? So if it's for you to live, then yeah, I understand you protecting your crops. Self-defense is understandable in veganism. Yeah, bugs are sentient. They care about what happens to themselves. In an ideal world, we wouldn't hurt bugs to get our crops. And we can actually improve that, so. Hi, having conversations. You want to have one? I'm interviewing people. You want to be interviewed? No? All right. Yeah, enjoy your day. We are morally superior in the animal sense. Doesn't mean meat eaters are bad people. So, like, regardless of where you rank yourself, does that mean that if you think of yourself as superior and someone is inferior, does that give you the right to do what you want to them? Yeah, I've tasted my own blood. Like, if I get a cut, I'll put it in my mouth and it tastes metallic-y and gross. Yeah, diet. So if you're an MD, that doesn't necessarily say that you know more than a dietitian. Most doctors have 24 to 48 hours of education on how diet affects your health. They basically know as much about health as the average person. So who I would look to would not be my medical doctor, who's going to be just as clueless as me and using ChatGPT and Google to figure things out. I'm going to reach to a dietitian who has 6,000 to 8,000 hours focused on actual scientific studies about how your diet affects your health. And the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the largest organization of dietitians and nutritionists, has come together with an agreed opinion that a vegan diet is a well-planned, plant-based diet is safe and healthy for all stages of life. You can get everything you need. So yeah, you can get everything and it's healthier. It can be healthier, I should say. Yeah, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has an opinion paper. Go read it. That's my evidence. They go over thousands of studies. It doesn't matter if you can get everything from someone's flesh. The point is that flesh came from a sentient being who wanted to live and wanted to avoid harm. You had to cause them harm and steal their life and exploit them in order to eat their insides.
I guess it is 2.
Yeah, let's call it. Thank you all for being here. We're going to wrap it up. You guys got 117 in there. High five. That was amazing. Thank y'all. Appreciate you. TikTok, I really appreciate, especially Jake and I think it was Astasia and Astasia. I'm sorry. I know it's Anastasia, so I always like want to say Stasia, so Astasia. And you know I do that to you. So anyway, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you to all the mods for keeping the chat safe. Thank you for all the vegans being active in there. I just want to emphasize how important it is to have you. I know that the chat can get overwhelming and annoying and grotesque at times. And you sit through there and you either muscle way through it or you answer questions that are legit. And that is seriously appreciated. So thank you so much for your guys' efforts. Dubs in the chat for all the vegans, right? Okay, so all back up. Let's back up. Okay, I want to make sure we get everybody in here. Yay, okay. I'm Vegan Stoner Lady. This is Anti-Animal Use. You can find Vegan Stoner Lady on all platforms. Please go follow Anti-Animal Use on all platforms, including here on TikTok. I know YouTube, you're not here, but here on TikTok, we need more people to come in here so we can answer more questions. That's why we're here. We want to help people live in alignment with their own values. Everybody wants to be consistent and be a good person. So that's why we're here, is to help you do that. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic around.
Hey, yeah, thanks for joining us today. It was lovely having you all here, and we had some great conversations on the side as well, so even if you don't hear it on the camera, we're having some really I had a couple great conversations. I know some people did here. So anyways, you can check out my blog at theuncagedfront.org.
Which is on anti-animal use, by the way. We put it on the website.
Thank you. And I'm on Instagram as well. So thanks a lot. Have a great vegan day.
I'm Nick, also known as grassfed_human on Instagram and TikTok. And thanks for tuning in, watching, and we appreciate it. And, continue to do so, please. So.
I am Enigma. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thanks again to the mods. There's a lot of conversations kind of behind the scenes today, I would say. There was a lot of off-camera conversations, many open-minded folks. If you're curious about exploring some of the interconnections between human liberation as well as the liberation of our fellow Earthlings, please visit totalliberationnow.org. You'll be able to connect to some socials there as well. There's lots of resources on that topic. And I want to thank everybody for joining. If you found this conversation enlightening, maybe you're still pondering this topic, subscribe to Anti-Animal Use, follow on Instagram. We have these conversations regularly, and we'd love to have you be part of it.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, YouTube and TikTok. Really appreciate y'all. And with that, we're going to call it a day, y'all. If you're not vegan, go vegan, and we'll see you next time.
Happy birthday to Vegan Stoner Lady, everybody. Make sure to say.
Thank you, guys. Yes. This was a great birthday. So you guys are here. We got to have some good conversations. It was amazing. So thank you for that. And I'll see you guys all later. Bye. Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Okay.